My apologies that we're not getting started any earlier, but the fact that we got a long agenda meant we also had a long executive agenda, so that took us quite a while to get through. My apologies, but we're back. Now let me read the statement coming out of there. I hereby announce the date is March 26, 2026, and the time is 6:47 p.m. No vote or action was taken in the executive session. There being no further business for executive, we return to the regular agenda. What did I say, 47? And we now have a full dais, and we will move on with our regular meeting agenda, which begins with item 4, Pledge Allegiance, invocation, any absence requests, which we have none tonight. Please, after we do the pledge and everybody's standing, stay standing for the invocation, which will be presented by Pastor Ben Haley, chaplain of the College Station Police Department. So please rise and join us in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Pastor Haley.
Please pray with me. Father, we give you thanks tonight for your care and love for us, and I thank you for all of our city officials and citizens gathered here tonight. Lord, I pray that as the mayor and our city council deliberate and plan for College Station, that you would give them great wisdom as they look to contribute to the flourishing of our city and its citizens. Thank you again for all of our government employees, law enforcement, fire and emergency responders, teachers, Parks and Rec, and all support services. We pray for the welfare of College Station and ask that you bless the work of the council tonight, that they might be a blessing to our city. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Haley. Appreciate very much the service you provide for the police department and for us each evening that you're here. Okay, we do have several proclamations tonight, but before I get to that, let me just say that there is a speaker protocol. It's in the agenda that's posted. Those of you that plan to speak tonight, recall that you have a 3-minute limitation, and I don't think there's anybody that needs interpretation, so there are only a few people signed up to speak, but we'll get to those in a moment. So the next item, if I can find it here, is item 5, a presentation, proclamations, awards, and recognitions. I have 4 of them. I'm going to do them from down front. Those people that are signed up to represent the organization involved, a couple of these are internal staff recognitions. A couple of them are from outside organizations. I think you can tell by the T-shirts up in the front row that we'll have quite a group for that butterfly one at least. So I'm going to come down in front, and those of you that are representing those, the first one will be the proclamation proclaiming March 28, 2026 as Mayor's Monarch Pledge Day, and Ms. Hayden and a whole group of people will be here for that one, and I'll read it from down front. Well, a very large group of master naturalists. Is that how you're here, Mr. Brick?
Among master naturalists are amongst us.
That's one of the reasons you're here.
One of the reasons.
Well, butterflies are part of our natural heritage, I guess, right? Okay. You guys can slide across so we're centered here. Half of you on that side and half here. Don't stand in the back. You're the tall guy, right? Okay. Let me get to this proclamation. Mayor Monarch Pledge. Got all the park staff, or a good bunch of them here, with Director Kelsey Hayden, who is there on the end. I'm going to move you to the middle when we do this presentation, or if you got somebody you want to designate to receive the, okay, you'll receive it, so you'll be in the middle. Proclamation. Whereas the monarch butterfly is an iconic North American species whose migration across Canada, the United States, Mexico has captivated Texans for generations, and whereas the once abundant monarch butterfly's population has declined more than 90% since the year 2000, and decline in population is such that the monarch may become a threatened species. And whereas the City Council has established a commitment to their recovery by re-signing, I read this earlier and I read it as resigning, but I know that's not what you mean. Signing the National Wildlife Federation's Mayor's Monarch Pledge, and whereas City of College Station and the Parks and Recreation Conservation Advisory Group, partners will continue our commitment to pollinator preservation, and whereas every citizen of College Station can make a difference for the monarch by planting native milkweed to provide habitat for the monarch and other native pollinators, and whereas I am honored to sign the National Wildlife Federation's Mayor's Monarch Pledge, and I encourage other city officials across our great nation to take a stand with me so that the monarch butterfly will once again flourish across the continent. Now therefore, I, John P. Nichols, by virtue of the authority vested in me as Mayor of City College Station, Texas, do hereby proclaim March 28th, 2026 as Mayor's Monarch Pledge Day, in testimony whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the seal of the City of College Station, Texas, this 26th day of March 2026. So this is the proclamation. We'll pose the photograph and I'll be right back. Item 5.2, American Red Cross Month. The members of the Heart of Texas chapter understand there's one or two people here that will be representing the Red Cross, both board members and staff. Thank you very much. So this is another proclamation, and I'll read the whereases and therefores. Whereas this March, we celebrate American Red Cross Month by honoring our neighbors who make its humanitarian mission possible in College Station every day. Their acts of kindness change lives, bringing relief, comfort, and hope when help can't wait. This compassionate spirit runs deep in our community, just as it has for 145 years through the American Red Cross. And whereas today, those who serve with the American Red Cross, Heart of the Texas chapter, lights the way during emergencies, whether it's delivering shelter, food, and comfort after disasters, providing a safe, life-saving blood supply for patients facing conditions like cancer treatments, childbirth complications, and traumatic injuries, assisting military members, veterans, and their families with 24/7 global support, or empowering individuals with skills like first aid and CPR that save lives. And whereas these collective efforts are a powerful reminder that the strength of our community lies in our shared commitment to one another. As we mark Red Cross Month, let's celebrate our local heroes and resolve to continue lifting each other up so that no one faces an emergency alone. Now therefore I, John P. Nichols, Mayor of the City of College Station, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the laws of the College Station and Texas, do hereby proclaim March 2026 American Red Cross Month and encourage all citizens of College Station to reach out and support its humanitarian mission. Testimony whereof I have hereunto set my hand, caused to be affixed to the seal of the City of College Station, Texas, this 26th day of March 2026. And I'm happy to congratulate the members of the Red Cross that are here and compliment them on the contributions that they make to the entire community across the region and across the world, because I know our family has supported both in thoughts and prayers, but in terms of cash, the work of the Red Cross.
Here.
You did. On
Yeah.
blood drive?
Yep, so Tuesday we hosted a blood drive here and we were so thankful that you guys allowed us to do that. Our goal was about 16 units of blood. We actually got 24, so percentage-wise, one of the most successful blood drives. Very thankful for the city staff who showed up and donated blood as well. We look forward to hopefully making that more often so that you have a better and more convenient place to donate blood in the future here at College Station City Hall.
Thank you, Ellen. Let's move underneath the seal and we'll get a photo. The spring months are very busy with lots of opportunities to recognize organizations that do great work in the community and city staff that do great work in the community as well. The next one is item 5.3, National Multiple Sclerosis Month. I think Mr. Jim Rouse is here representing them. There we are. So we've got representatives that are local that are representing this group, and as mentioned in here, the MS 150 finishes right here in Brazos County, right here in Kyle Field, right? So that's part of the write-up, but I want
April 26th.
to promote that. What is the date of that?
April 26th.
April 26th. So go out there at the finish line. It's always a great time watching and congratulating those people that put the miles in. And you're one of them.
I'm the rider, she's the volunteer, so.
Okay.
Volunteers also.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, the proclamation, whereas multiple sclerosis is an unpredictable, often disabling disease of the central nervous system affecting nearly 1 million people in the United States alone, and whereas the National Multiple Sclerosis Society is committed to a world free of MS, raising the public knowledge about the disease and elevating the voices of those affected by it, and whereas since 1946, the National Multiple Sclerosis Society has been a driving force of MS research, relentlessly pursuing prevention, treatment, and cures, and has invested more than $1 billion in groundbreaking research, and whereas the mission of the National Multiple Sclerosis Society is to cure MS while empowering people affected by MS to live their best lives, and is one that all Americans and the City of College Station should support. And whereas the City of College Station recognizes the importance of finding the cause and cures for MS and expresses its appreciation for the dedication of the National Multiple Sclerosis Society has shown toward creating a world free of MS by acknowledging March as MS Awareness Month. And whereas the City of College Station recognizes the importance of finding the cause and cures for MS and expresses its appreciation for the dedication of the National Multiple Sclerosis Society that has shown toward creating a world free of MS by generously holding the finish line of the annual Bike MS ACC Texas MS 150, as they said, on April 26, 2026 at Aggie Park. I therefore, John P. Nichols, as mayor of City of College Station, Texas, and on behalf of the entire City of College Station City Council, do hereby proclaim March 2026 as National Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Month. And we encourage citizens of City of College Station to join in finding the cause and cures for multiple sclerosis. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of City of College Station, Texas to be affixed this 26th day of March, 2026. The MS 150 is a fantastic effort to raise money, and I don't remember the numbers, but I go out there every year at the finish line, and they update me on how many riders there are. You'd be amazed at the number of firms and businesses across the state and the region that sponsor teams and pay significant sponsorships into this bike ride. It's one of the top bike rides in the world, as I understand it. So if you haven't seen the ending of it, on April 26th, go out there about 11 o'clock in the morning, maybe.
Anytime afternoon.
Afternoon is when the bulk of the riders come in.
The pros come in at 11.
The pros always come in early, yeah.
Normal people get there in the afternoon.
Okay, let us get a photograph here and we'll congratulate them again.
Thank you.
Congratulations. As I recall, there's always several starting points because there's thousands of riders, and some of them come from Houston, some of them come from Austin. You said you're starting in Belleville.
About 5,000 riders.
5,000 riders, wow.
To raise $11 million.
Wow, there you go. It's a really major and important idea, and an iconic finish right in front of the 12th man at Aggie Park and Kyle Field. We're pleased to, as a city, to host that event. So the next proclamation is National Community Development Week. Our community development staff, please come forward, and we'll celebrate their work. While they're coming forward, I'll begin reading the proclamation. Whereas, the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development implemented the Community Development Block Grant CDBG program in 1974 for the purpose of providing local governments with the financial resources to assist low and moderate income persons. And whereas, this year celebrates 52 years of CDBG, Community Development Block Grant, and the City of College Station has received over $48 million through the CDBG program to address the needs of our residents. And whereas the CDBG program provides annual funding and flexibility to make targeted investments to meet local needs, transforming neighborhoods, providing preventative and social services, developing decent, safe, and sanitary housing, and providing economic opportunity to low-income persons. And whereas the Home Investment Partnerships, HOME, program provides funding to local communities to create decent, safe, and affordable housing opportunities for low-income persons. And whereas the City of College Station has received over $18 million in home funds since 1994. Now therefore be it resolved, I, John P. Nichols, Mayor of the City of College Station, Texas, designates the week of April 6th through 10th, 2026 as National Community Development Week in support of these two valuable programs that have made tremendous contributions to the viability of housing stock infrastructure, public services, and economic vitality of our community. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand, cause the seal of the city of College Station, Texas, to be affixed this 26th day of March 2026. I will congratulate the staff that manages these programs, and if you look at the agenda, you'll see, I think there's 3 items, 1 on consent and 2 on regular agenda, that deal with how these folks are responding to the needs of the community and through that staff work and getting council's approval on some of the investments that are made with those funds that we receive. So thank you all for your diligent work, and congratulations, and let us get a photo op, and you guys can give it up for this group. That completes our proclamations, and we'll return to the rest of the agenda. Okay, the next item on our agenda is to hear visitors. Item 6. I have 3 people signed up to speak this evening. They'll each get 3 minutes. These are items that are not on our agenda. The council, because they're not posted, cannot make a response other than to direct it to staff for consideration. The first name is James Sun. Please come forward. Be followed by Anna Lowry. Son, welcome.
Here.
And the clock is in front of you, and please proceed.
All right. Good evening. I want to thank you again, Mayor and Council, for allowing me the chance to speak here tonight. So, my name is James Sun. I'm a student at Texas A&M, and I'm a resident over in Central College Station. And the reason I'm here today is because I wanted to voice my concerns about the flock cameras that are being installed in the city. As you may know, Flock Safety is a company that specializes in selling and operating surveillance cameras for communities in order to combat crime. They do this by monitoring traffic and taking pictures of every vehicle on the road that passes by. And they upload these to their servers, which are then used to these can build like a detailed travel records of every person that's on the road, and as you can imagine, systems like these are quite prone to errors and abuse. There have already been a number of cases across the country where stalkers have used these systems to track their exes, as well as times where the AI itself has made errors, whether it misreads B for an 8 or 2 for a 7. Which then leads to innocent people getting accused for crimes that they did not commit, as well as people getting pulled over and being held at gunpoint because the AI flagged their vehicle as stolen when it wasn't. And another big issue with these cameras is that they allow police the ability to track any person at any time on the road without a warrant and without probable cause. And this obviously chips away at our Fourth Amendment rights. And look, I trust that the city and the police department had the best of interests when installing these cameras, but there's no way to guarantee that these cameras won't be misused in the future or by anyone outside of the city or police department, such as by hackers, federal agencies, or by Flock itself. this is a company that has lied in the past about how their cameras are being used and how the data is being shared. In Colorado, in a city in Colorado, they insisted for months that the data there was not being shared with federal agencies, only for it to turn out that it wasn't the case. And 2 congressmen are already calling for investigations into Flock for their negligent cybersecurity practices. So I feel if these cameras are going up with our taxpayer dollars, we deserve to at least have a say in whether they go up or not. So I'll wrap this up with a question. Will you, Mayor and Council, please reconsider terminating your contracts with Flock? And if not, will you at least put this in as a future agenda item so we can discuss this as a community before we move forward with these contracts? Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Anna Lowry, Lowary, there we go, thank you. Be followed by Cody Fox. Lowry, welcome.
Thank you. My name is Anna Lowry, and I live in Midtown Estates, which is the newer portion of Midtown. As a newer resident of College Station, we moved here in July of 2024. I've enjoyed getting familiar with my new hometown, and I've learned a lot through sitting in on city council meetings, volunteering for the CDBG Review Committee, and also by attending Citizens University. On Monday evening, I attended our 9th training session. This time it was with public funds. I was very impressed with the bullpen and all the good works available to our city, but I was distracted by something I had heard earlier. I learned that the design of Texas Independence Park is well underway, but that the proposed dog parks have been eliminated from the plan. One of the main reasons I've been such an advocate of that park was because of this feature. When you look at all the beautiful parks and recreational facilities in College Station, you see lots of facilities for our 2-legged children, but not for our 4-legged furry children. There are 2 parks designated as dog parks on the facilities website, but I don't believe either one of them has a feature where dogs can run off leash and be allowed to play with their friends. In another Citizens University session, we met with the folks from Economic Development and Tourism. In that session, we learned that the fastest growing demographic in College Station is seniors. While the focus of that discussion was how to meet the challenge to keep young professionals from moving away after college, I couldn't help but remind everyone that a healthy and happy senior population is good for our economy too. Many of them are financially secure, they like to volunteer and to contribute to the community. And by the way, their children have 4 paws. While I'm fortunate to be able to take my dog on a long walk, many seniors are not as mobile, so a dog park allows them to let their dog socialize and get some much-needed exercise. I did have a chance to discuss my concerns with Jennifer Kane and learned that the parks were cut due to the budget and that this design is in phase 1. She offered that it might be feasible to add them to a future phase. So if it's not too late, I respectfully ask that you consider adding dog parks back into the plan for Texas Independence Park. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you for your service on the committee as well. Cody Fox.
My name is Cody Fox. I live in the Welborn community in South College Station. I would like to start by addressing the misconceptions put out by the recent articles on Flock. The KBTX article was an attempt to bring awareness to the people of BCS, but got some things wrong and left some things out. The first mistake is the claim in the article from Officer Waller that we own the cameras and we own the data. The police department does not own the cameras. Per Flock's terms and conditions in the definition 1.13, which defines Flock property as Flock services, software, hardware, and web interface. And in section 4.2, it reads, as between the parties, Flock property and all right, title, and interest in and to it is and will remain the exclusive property of Flock. You are not paying to own the cameras. You are paying to use the hardware and access their system. Definition 1.13 also states that Flock property also includes any derivative works intermediate or final outputs, analyses, reports, models, or other results generated by or through Flock services, which leads to the next mistake. You own the data on paper, that's it. Because the license you agree Flock retaining is, quote, limited, non-exclusive, royalty-free, irrevocable, perpetual, worldwide license. That means that even if you cancel the subscriptions or delete the data on your end, they have the right to keep and use it forever for anything they see fit. They can run the data through any model they want and keep the investigative findings for themselves with your permission. The new Flock contract, which will add 72 of these cameras in College Station alone and cost taxpayers almost $300,000 a year in subscription fees, deserves to be honestly advertised to the people who are being forced to pay for their own surveillance. The public also deserves an honest report about the security vulnerabilities that are being reported with this system, so many of which that there has been a formal letter written to the FTC by members of Congress calling for an investigation into such matters. So my question is, when are we, as the public funding the system, going to get a fair say in the matter of our own surveillance? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your presentations, all three of the speakers. These items are not on the agenda, so they cannot be discussed by the council members. They'll be referred to staff to review and consider. If anything needs to be addressed, it'll come back to us. Therefore, we'll move on in the agenda. The next part of the agenda is the consent agenda, which accounts for, I think, 19 items, given that this is the only meeting we have this month. Items 7.1 through 7.19, pages 4, 5, and a little part of 6 in the agenda. Are there any of those items that need to be removed for questions? Mr. White, which numbers?
7.2, 7.10, and 7.15,
Wait a minute, let me get over here. 7.2 and 10.
and 15.
We'll turn the pages. 2, 10, and 15.
Yes, sir.
Any others from other council members?
19.
19. Okay,
And 9, please, Mayor, and I'll be extremely brief.
and 9. I hope everybody is brief, but we'll see. You know, every item deserves discussion. Okay, several of these. We'll start with Ms. Kane on item 7.2, presentation, discussion, possible action on design contract, the architect studio, the Veterans Park wayfinding signage design not to exceed $146,200. Ms. Kane?
Well, I'm Melissa Thomas, the project manager for this
Okay.
with Capital.
Thank you so much. I appreciate all your work on this. This falls under the category, Melissa, of probably being good stewards of our taxpayers' money. $146,000. Is this just to design the signs in Veterans Park, or is it
Yes.
actually going to? I mean, there were some
Construction.
other things in there, like putting, redoing some of the roundabouts and putting the curb. What is that $146 getting us?
It's the design for signage throughout the park.
So isn't that a lot of money for
It is,
signage?
it's a lot of signs. There's a lot in the roundabouts, at each field. I think there ends up being like 26 different signs throughout the park.
Do they install the signs themselves?
No.
So this $146,000 is just to design, if my calculations are right, in the neighborhood of about 28 to 30 signs. Is that about right?
Yes.
Can I just ask another
Sure,
additional question? It's not just the design, but it's the location and the
Yes.
sequencing.
Yes.
Wayfinding is more than just putting names, letters
Right.
on a sign, right?
Yes.
So it's a whole process.
Also geotechnical, TOS registration,
geotechnical.
materials testing.
Yes, yes, geotechnical, construction materials testing, that'll be during construction, and also structural design, because some of them are quite large, so that can actually see them well.
That just seems like a lot of money.
It does seem like a lot of money, I agree
For
with that.
just the designing of the signs. In addition to that, and included in that $146,000 is a $35,000 administrative fee for this company. I guess to oversee this. I'm fine with it. I'm going to support it. I'm gonna vote for it. But just seems that that's a little steep in just the design work for our signs.
It is. We had discussion with them, additional discussion with them on, why the price was what it is.
Yeah. So we took
it's
this out to
high.
bid, correct? Was
It's
this
the continuation of the master plan, the company that did the master plan. It's a continuation of their services because they started the design of wayfinding with that.
Okay.
But the actual full design for construction and bid documents is what is for this, outside of the master plan.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilmember White. Thank you very much. 7.9, presentation, discussion, possible action on change order with DCCM Infrastructure Incorporated. The amount of $92,406 for additional engineering design and project management services for the Rock Prairie Road East widening project. I believe we have another project manager.
Yes.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Raquel Gonzalez, project manager for capital projects.
Go ahead.
To you, Mrs. Gonzalez, and to Mrs. Kane, I simply want to say thank you for very imaginative, creative value engineering here. My understanding is by moving the roadway easement or right-of-way by 9 feet, the taxpayer will realize savings of between $679,000 and $1,179,000. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Kudos. Thank you. I'm sure the taxpayer thanks you too. Thank you, Mayor.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Raquel, can I ask you a question while you're up there?
Yes.
Over here, thanks. Over here. Hi. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna interject.
My
I
apologies.
was very interested in this item too, and I agree
Yes,
with
sir.
Bob completely. What does it mean in terms of the way the road's gonna work? Is there gonna be a jog in the road now?
There's not. So we started initially with trying to avoid a pond that's along the same stretch of road. And what we did there was, we're gonna pull, so this is a two-lane road with a center lane and then 2 bike lanes.
Right.
So the bike lane's gonna disappear for that, and we're gonna take the bikes onto that 10-foot shared use path. And as soon as we get past all the conflicts and the pond, we'll reintroduce the bike lane back into the road. So it's a shared use path that's designed for road and pedestrian, for bikes and pedestrians. So we're not taking away from the pedestrian side of that, but it does avoid all the conflicts, gas. The pond was also another issue we tried to get around. So we got to accomplish a lot by that design.
And it avoids potential eminent domain too, right?
That's correct. That there were 4 lots that we had not, we had reached out to about 2 years ago, and we didn't have to end up following through with any of those, so we'll avoid that for those 4 lots.
Well, that 9 feet was worth like $10,800 per inch. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further comments on 710? Seeing none, thank you for the presentation and thoughtful evaluation of the project. Moving 7.10, 710, presentation, discussion, possible action regarding professional services contract with Freeze and Nichols in the amount of $300,000 for the 2026 wastewater impact fee update study.
How's it
We
going?
have somebody
I'm
here.
Ramiro Martinez, the Engineering Operations Manager with the Water Department.
Yes, sir. I think this was yours, Mr. White?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Can you explain a little bit about what this study's going to entail? My short time that I've been on council, we've talked a lot about impact fees.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked a lot about, water and wastewater impact fees.
Mm-hmm.
What is this study going to show us that we don't know already?
Absolutely. So right now, we're in the process of also doing our water and wastewater master plan update. And once we've modeled it, we're also able to introduce which new projects related to growth are attributing to these projects, or to the growth in the system. And what this impact fee update will do, it'll allow us to determine what are the attributable contributions that are growth-related versus regular maintenance operations, capacity needs for that area. And so we can determine.
Yeah, will this study give us recommendations on cost, impact fee? I mean, we already have a schedule for impact fees. Is this study gonna give us recommendations whether we should change that or not?
The study will give us updated costs on what we've spent in the past and what these future growth projects will cost in the future over the next 5 years. And there will be a determination with council as to how much is the max allowable impact fee that we can go up to pay for those growth projects.
And to be clear, in both the case of water, wastewater, and in roadways, this study is required a minimum of every 5 years. So whether you're going to charge fees or not, you're required to do this. And what it does is obviously the costs always go up, per linear foot of anything, but it also looks at what have you built and what do you expect to build. And the intent is to make it accurate as to what you would need for future development and size it. And then that information comes to council to determine if you're going to do anything with it, raise it, lower it, whatever it is. But in order to have an impact fee charged, you're required every 5 years to do these studies.
So this contract is for 1 year. I think it starts after council approves it tonight. So in theory, we should not have a discussion on impact fees until we get this study back. Would that be a correct statement?
That's a policy decision. You have information right now, and you're allowed to operate on it, but to continue to have any discussion, if you're going to charge a fee, you have to update these.
I think the difference is we could discuss the rate that we, what do you call it, the amount that we charge against the maximum. We've already got a study from 4 or 5 years ago that we can base the decisions about the collection rate. We can debate that. But this is a mandatory update that we have to do. And as I recall, the cost of the study can be paid back out of impact fees.
That's correct. And whether you would want to do it or not is just up to council. I would say typically, it really doesn't matter. Council can change their mind. This gives you new information. Again, every 5 years is the requirement. We know that the costs of construction change, and we've built things over that time.
Right.
So the intent is just to give you an accurate piece of information to operate from. Again, you can make a policy decision whenever you want, as long as we're conforming to the requirements.
I'm really looking forward to the study and what the study comes back with. Does it really need to take a year to accomplish that? Because I think the data would be very helpful in our discussions. Is it really a year worth of study, or can we expedite that a little bit?
It won't be a full year. Because we're doing the master plan, we kind of have to finish up the modeling. That will then determine what projects we need to do. And then by the December winter timeframe, that's when we would come back with a draft impact fee recommendation.
And I know we're not talking about it right now. You pulled the roadway one. I will say, traditionally, it takes some time because there are different components, but we do involve the development community and lots of staff, because especially on roadways, if you look at our impact fee study, the last one we did, there is what's eligible, and then there's what you put in. And we don't have everything that's eligible in it, and that's intentional, some of which it's because we've just said we don't think this makes sense, or the development community has said, here's what we think or doesn't think. And then obviously council has the ultimate say to say whether do you think it makes sense or not, and or if you just want to decide on a policy level, here's what we're going to include and not. So there's a technical aspect of determining like what you think you're going to need based on modeling and traffic. There's the development pattern piece of it. Then there's what are the projects going to need to be to facilitate that? What are they going to cost? And then the outreach. And then it comes back to you guys to say, okay, what are we willing to bless?
How many more studies would we have to do to cover the entire gamut?
Co-
One more?
To cover what?
All impact fees. We're gonna have to do it for all impact fees, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
item
every 5 years.
Item 15 is the roadway.
Water, wastewater, and roadway are the ones that are required to
Item
be done.
15, 7.15 is the roadway one, and that's your next question.
Yes, sir.
Does this,
Yeah.
Yes.
and the same answer with regard to requirement.
Yes.
The two big things you get out of this is you get an update of the living unit equivalents, LUEs, because we might have done some rezoning within that area which changed the density, which means that roadway or water or wastewater needs to change what it may have to put in the ground, which means your capital costs are going to change. That's why you do it every 5 years, is to catch up on changes that this body has made during that 5-year period.
I think it's a great study. I would love to see if we could get it sooner than a year, but maybe we can expedite that. Thank you so much.
But, Mayor, I just feel compelled to point out that if sometime in the next year, the council decides to do away with impact fees, then this money will have been wasted. Thank you, sir.
No, But if you currently have impact fees, you don't have a choice. And I don't know that this body will necessarily do away with impact fees. That's been brought up several times. This body, as it's currently convenes, has not done away with impact fees, despite the fact that it's been on our agenda. So I don't see how you can avoid following the state law to do the study.
Drop the fees.
Well, you've had your opportunity, Mr. Yancey.
Thank you, Mayor Nichols. I
Thank you.
appreciate it, sir.
We've had a good discussion. Okay, do you want 7:15?
I just have one question for
15 also?
7.15. Are you?
No.
That's Carol.
Okay, I'm
Ms.
sorry.
Cotter? 7:15 is presentation, discussion, possible action regarding professional services contract with Kimley Horn and Associates in the amount of $120,000 of the 2026 roadway impact fee 5-year update study. Ms. Cotter?
Good evening, Carol Cotter, City Engineer.
Thank you so much. I got a lot of the answers from my previous questions, but I just have one for this one.
Sure.
Will you be making recommendations according to the scope of services 2.1 to the thoroughfare plan? Will you be looking at the thoroughfare plan of our comprehensive plan, and will this study make a recommendation on that?
We will not be adjusting the thoroughfare plan with this contract. We will be utilizing the thoroughfare plan in determining what the impact fee capital improvement plans are in calculating the impact fees.
Thank you.
We-
So
we
you will
use
not
the
be,
thir-
you will not be making recommendations on any aspect of the thoroughfare plans. You'll
No,
just
sir.
be utilizing that as a tool.
Correct.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. White. Ms. McElhaney, I think you're up next. 7.19 from Mr. Whittington. This is the presentation, discussion, possible action regarding the appointing of Tina Ann Duncan to an unexpired term on the Tourism Committee.
Which I wholeheartedly support. My question is more of a point of clarification. The way the item reads, it says, this item is to appoint Mrs. Duncan to the unexpired term of Mr. Ross or to provide direction to staff to extend the application period. Go ahead.
If you move to approve 7.19, it will appoint her to the committee. In the cover sheet, it mentioned that if you don't want to appoint her, you could either not make a motion on the item, or you could vote the item down, and that would indicate that you want us to go back out.
Okay, excellent. I just want to make sure that we were voting on appointing her and not,
Or appoint, yeah, if we were to pull that off the agenda, as he said, and voted it down, then we would have to guide the staff to keep the,
sounds like we're good to go.
okay, thank you. Okay, that takes care of 7.1 to 7.19. I didn't see any further questions, anything anybody wants to pull from the agenda? So the chair will entertain a motion on the consent agenda, 7.19, or 7.1 through 7.19. Do I hear a motion?
I move to approve.
Motion made and by Mr. White, Mr. Wright, seconded by Mr. Smith, double second by Mr. White.
There you go.
All right, so we got a motion on the floor and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We've finished the consent agenda, and we'll move on to the workshop. First item on our workshop is 8.1, presentation, discussion, possible action relating to receiving the annual audit reports, annual comprehensive financial report, the ACFR, for the fiscal year ended September 30th, 2025. Mr. Michael DeHaven is going to make the introductions and part of the presentation.
Sir.
Welcome.
Mayor, Council, Michael DeHaven, Fiscal Services. Again, we're going to present the FY25 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report and the External Audit Report. Before doing that, again, just to kind of go over what the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, or ACFR, is. Basically, we start with the council adopted budget. Then we have our actual financial transactions that occur through the year. Then the financial reporting group will make sure that we have all our required GAAP and GASB. GASB is the Governmental Accounting Standards Board's presentation transactions, and then that's what basically comes in to produce our comprehensive financial report. So I'll give you a couple little highlights of, this is government-wide, so this includes all of our governmental and enterprise funds together. The overall net position for the city is $1,072,758,571. That's an increase of almost $102 million from fiscal year 14 to 15. The unrestricted net position is $353,505,495. This is a little over $38.5 million increase from FY24. The restricted net position is $121,004,780. That is a increase of a little over $22.5 million. And then the net investment in capital, again, this is kind of all of our items that we own as a city, from our roads, our fire stations, our fire trucks, is $598,248,296. Again, that was an increase of almost $40.5 million. So some of the key drivers to that increase in the unrestricted net position, and this is kind of what the city can use to operate on a day-to-day basis, was our increase in investment income, permitting fees throughout the year. Our utility revenues were a big portion of it, and then we had some sale of business park land through the year.
So this includes the enterprise budgets
This
as well
includes
as the
governmental
general-
and enterprise. That is correct. Every year, we kind of talk about some of the key liabilities that are sitting on the city's financial statements. Our net pension liability was $40,478,829. This was an increase of $3.6 million year over year. Our compensated absences, so these are vacation, we now have to value sick in there at a formula basis. That liability is $12,973,275. That was an increase of $663,000. That one really moves with the cost of payroll every year. It'll kind of move with us. And then our net OPEB liability, this is the retiree health care and life insurance, was $569,533 and was an increase of $191,836. One way we can show these liabilities is how much we are funded. So we have money in either, for the pension liability, we send it to TMRS, who is basically our pensioner. And so looking at that liability with the amount of funds that we have, we are 90.73% funded on that liability, which is a very healthy way to look at those. The compensated absences is just a liability put on our books. Some of that is not has to be funded. The net OPEB liability, we have a trust that we set up years ago to help fund that liability. And with that trust, we are basically 93.29% funded on those. So very healthy funding on all those liabilities right now.
I have a question, Mike.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you mention that the net pension liability, that increase of $3.6 million, that's kind of normal? That's an annual? Did you say that that's about the same amount every year?
No, I mean, that one can fluctuate. That one, the pension liability will fluctuate much more than like compensated absence. I said that one was kind of normal with the cost of payroll. pension. There's a lot of factors that go into there. If you have any changes in your plan, if we have changes in the stock market, which is where a lot of our funds are with TMRS, that's going to drive that liability. So a 3.6 million is kind of I would say a normalish range of movement, but it's not always going to be there.
Thank you.
Yep. With our annual financial report, we, every year after council accepts it, we send it off to GFOA and they do a kind of analysis on it. And we, for our fiscal year 24, we received the Certificate of Achievement and Excellence in Financial Reporting. We've received this for 30 plus years. I think it started in Kirsten's era and has gone all the way through. So we're going to keep him happy and keep getting that,
Isn't it still
Certificate of
Kirsten's
Achievement.
era?
What's that?
Isn't it still Kirsten's era?
Yeah, well, yes, it definitely is still Kirsten's era. I will introduce our external auditors. They're going to give a presentation here. So Weaver Tidwell is the city's external auditor. John DeBurrow is the partner in charge. We have Tiffany Drew here, who's the senior. Oh, I'm sorry, Brittany. Brittany, she is our senior manager on the audit. All the audit was completed on March 4th, 2026, and consists of the annual comprehensive financial report, audit and review, and our single audit report on our grants. Weaver presented their findings to the audit committee on March 23rd, basically Monday, and the committee accepted both the ACFR and the audit. So I will turn it over to Brittany. There you go.
Thank you. Like you said, my name is Brittany Drew, Senior Manager for Weaver and Tidwell. I want to start off before we get to the finding or how well the city did, just to commend your finance team. They do a really great job. You guys have seen this report. It's a very large report. It takes a lot of work to put into it. And the city finance department does a really great job. So I just wanted to commend them. So we're going to start with the results of your financial statements. You can see here that we issued an unmodified opinion. That's the highest level of assurance that the city can receive, so great job on that. We performed some limited procedures on your internal control over financial reporting. You'll see here that we had no deficiencies in which we are reporting for material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. And then we also have no non-compliance to report as well. On top of looking at your financial statements, we also look at your federal grant awards and we perform an audit on those. The type of report we issued for that was also an unmodified opinion. And we also look at internal controls over the major programs that we test. And you can see here we have no material weaknesses, no significant deficiencies, and no audit findings. The two major programs we tested this year, which they tend to rotate, we tested the CDBG Entitlement Grants Cluster and the SAFER grant. That gave us about 21% coverage of your federal grants, but because the city is only a low-risk oddity, we're only required to get 20%. So we reached it with these two programs. We have a couple of required communications that we have to give you. We performed our audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards and generally accepted government auditing standards. The single audit, which is our audit over the federal grant programs, is done in accordance with uniform guidance. And we perform certain tests on the city's compliance with provisions of laws and regulations, including PFIA, which is your investments. We perform a risk-based audit, and as a result of that, during our planning stage, we do evaluate the city for what we consider to be significant risk. We do this across all our audits. It doesn't mean the city has any sort of issues over these three risks that we have determined. They're pretty standard across most of our entities. So you'll see here, we identified management override of controls, risk of improper revenue recognition over utility charges for service and your federal and state grants, and then misappropriation of cash through improper payroll disbursements or unauthorized pay rates. So we determine these risks and then we perform certain procedures to address these risks, and as a result, we didn't have any findings to report to you today. This here just states that the auditor is responsible under generally accepted auditing standards to express an opinion about whether the financial statements that management prepares is reasonable and materially accurate in accordance with U.S. Generally accepted accounting principles. We issued that unmodified opinion, which speaks to that. This is our responsibility under government auditing standards to issue a report on the consideration of internal controls. Like I previously mentioned, there were no material weaknesses, no significant deficiencies, so that's how we address this part. And then lastly is our responsibility under uniform guidance. So this relates again to the federal grants. We perform procedures for the purpose of expressing an opinion on whether those grants have been administered in compliance with laws and regulations. So again, we issued that unmodified opinion, so the city is doing great. We're also required to report any unusual transactions or if there's any new accounting principles that the city adopted. There are no new GASB pronouncements the city adopted that had any effect on the financials, and there were no unusual transactions. A few more required communications. We didn't have any difficulties during the audit. We do require that management gives us certain representations, in which they did on March 4th when we issued our report. We didn't have any independence issues. And then you'll see in the report there's a management discussion and analysis and required supplementary information. We only perform limited procedures on those pieces, and we do not provide any assurance on those. The last part talks about management's estimates. We evaluate those and determine if there's any bias in management estimates. And so the estimates consist of net pension and OPEB liabilities, compensated absences, so those major liabilities that was just discussed, and then any accrual for any incurred but not reported claims related to insurance. And happy to report there's no management bias. And then the last communication I have here is we're required to report if there's any material audit adjustments or any past audit adjustments. So past adjustments are just if we notice a difference or an error and it doesn't actually get reported in the financial statements. Happy to report we didn't have any of those this year and no material audit adjustments to talk about either. And that concludes my presentation. Any questions?
Questions for staff, for the presenter? Questions, presenter, Mr. Yancey.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much for the presentation. On MD&A and RSI, no assurances. Help me out with that.
So that just means, so we have our audit opinion that's over like the financial statement side of that. That's what we're providing, that it's materially correct in accordance with US GAAP. And so we don't provide that same sort of assurance over the management discussion analysis and the RSI. So when we say there's just no assurance, all we're doing is we read through it and we make sure that it makes sense compared to the rest of the report, but we're not required to provide any assurance on that.
And on your past adjustments, how far do you guys go back?
So it's evaluated every single year. So as we're working through the audit, if we just find any sort of differences that either management doesn't want to correct or just chooses not to correct, we're required to report it to you, but we didn't have any of those. So every single year we're evaluating this.
So how far back do you warrant that representation? How many years back?
Just as far as we're doing the audit. So we're in our second year of the audit.
Okay. And then talk to me about as it relates to materiality, quantitative versus qualitatively material information.
Can you elaborate on what the question is?
Like what would you consider to be a material that would require a material disclosure?
So we actually provide materiality for each different opinion unit that is presented. So that would be like general fund, debt service, capital projects, your governmental. So each one is assigned a different materiality based off of a different factor. And then we provide some auditor judgment as to, we can slide that scale up and down depending on how risky we think the client is.
But you don't always have total flexibility in that, right? There's standards on some things. It's a percentage of our overall budget, which would be quantitative, and then there's other things in a different basket that are qualitative that would fall below, let's say, the 0.5% of our total budget threshold, correct?
Yeah. So if there is a misstatement, we do take some qualitative factors in mind to determine whether we feel it needs to be warranted as something to report in the report to you guys. But we didn't have anything even close to that this year.
And if you have our business next year, and God forbid we sustain a fraud event at the city of College Station, how do you treat that in your reporting?
That's a very good question. I'm trying to think, because I haven't personally been with an entity that has had a fraud incident to know how it's treated. But as far as I know, I don't believe it gets like presented in the report unless, I guess it's material enough, but like you guys are obviously going to know about the fraud event. But we do perform more procedures around the event. Like if it's an IT thing, we have an IT department that can come in and help analyze what's going on and maybe where the downfall was type situation. So we do perform extra procedures if there is some sort of fraud event or some sort of like cybersecurity event or something like that.
Great deal. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor Nichols.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, if not, I think we are advised. Oh,
Yep.
Mr. DeHaven, you want to go back to your?
Yeah, I just want to, so basically there's council action to accept the annual comprehensive financial report and external audit. And afterwards, if you accept it, there's because of the change in the legislature, there's a statement we need read into the record.
I will do that.
Okay.
But first, we will have a motion and second regarding accepting the annual comprehensive financial report and the external audit.
I move to accept the annual comprehensive financial report and external audit.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second from Ms. McElhaney. All those in favor, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion as stated, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Therefore, by this presentation and acceptance of the City Council, the annual comprehensive financial report and the external audit report is considered filed with the City Secretary's office effective March 26, 2026. That is a extra language than I remember from last year, but that's okay.
It has to
just
do.
making it very clear.
It has to do with the legislature that passed.
Oh,
in
well, everybody
2025.
follows the rules. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. DeHaven. Thank you for the presentation of the audit.
And Mayor, if I could just very quickly, I would like to thank Michael, Mary Ellen, all of the finance staff, and everybody else in the organization who is involved in the audit, in preparing the financial report. As he mentioned, it is a big document. There is a lot of information. It's an important document, and just wanted to express my appreciation to those folks for all that they have done on that.
Thank you very much, and certainly the council seconds that endorsement. From the council's point of view, the work that goes into all of our financial management processes is remarkable and worthy of our approbation positively. Thank you very much. Both of you, all of you. Very good. Thank you. We'll move on now to second item on our workshop agenda, which is the presentation discussion, possible action on 2026 update to the City Council strategic plan. And Mr. Ross Brady, the Chief of Staff, has been very good at keeping track of the many different kinds of things that council members say in a strategic planning workshop. Each of you should have gotten a copy in your agenda package of a couple different versions, but I'll let you introduce the topic and help us figure out where we need to go next.
Yeah, so that's correct. So as the mayor said, Ross Brady, Chief of Staff, City of College Station. And as you all know, last month the council met for a strategic planning retreat, during which you all provided direction on changes and updates to the council's annual strategic plan. There are two versions of that document in your packet, starting on page 602, and they were also sent to you last week for your review. So the first version is what we provide every year, and it provides outlines the specific changes that the council requested, and you can see that in a red line version there. The second version incorporates all of those same changes and then reorganizes the document into a different format where each objective has one or more actions assigned to it. And the goal there is that the objectives are kind of vision statements describing where the council wants the city to go. And then the actions are the specific measurable statements of like how you will achieve that goal. So tonight, y'all can accept either version of that or accept one version with changes that we can incorporate into the document. And with that, I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay, I think you gave us a red line, as he mentioned. I've been through it. Any individuals, I'll start with whoever wants to start. Mr. Wright would like to say anything?
Ross,
Mr.
very
White?
good. Yeah, very good job. I love the wording. Can I encourage your consideration for, under good governance, that we add 2 bullet line items under that for action? The first one the council will adopt a formal legislative agenda each session to protect home rule authority and advocate for local priorities.
What point? What
Yes,
page
and
is
so
that
it
on?
sounds like you're
These are
looking at
mine.
the first version of the document, the traditional version.
I'm going off of your red line.
Yes, okay.
And these are new bullets, so these are not
Right.
in there. So these are brand new bullets that I'm recommending.
How about the red line bullet that is added there? Are you okay with that?
I'm fine with
So
those,
you
yes.
want to add another?
2.
Okay.
For good governance.
Okay, now that I'm located, it's on page 602 of the overall
Yes.
packet.
Yes. Do you want me to
Yep, just tell us what it is you're concerned that isn't already included there.
I would just like to focus a little bit in our strategic plan, our legislative efforts, because I truly think that's real important for the city in light of what's coming up. So the council will adopt a formal legislative agenda each session to protect home rule authority and advocate for local priorities.
Yes, and there is a bullet point that reads, develop and approve a legislative platform for each legislative session.
Can you add to protect home rule authority and advocate for local priorities?
Yes.
That's, actually, isn't that already in there under the objectives?
It is, so the city actively engages with the legislature on matters relating to home rule authority.
Okay, I mean, I'm just making recommendations for actions, because then if it's actions, then I think we will do it. The second one is.
And so, and again, we'll make any changes that the council comes to a consensus on, but in the new format version of this, you can see how those two things then work together. So in that version where there's an action item assigned to each objective, you can look at, under good governance, Objective 5 states, the city will actively engage with the legislature on matters related to home rule authority, and then directly beneath it, there's a 5.1, which states, develop and approve a legislative platform for each legislative session.
Okay, I am so sorry. I have the red line. I did not. I don't have that copy.
Well, actually, it's in the packet, but it's later in the packet.
Yeah.
613.
That's what that, to me, that starts on
613.
the alternative presentation style is really what you're talking about. And at 612.
You've
on the packet.
basically aligned in the second version with all of our aspirations with our goals and objectives, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Looks great.
maybe the discussion ought to be around the second version, if in fact
Yeah.
the council believes the second version, which is redone and numbered in an interesting, useful way. Are we in agreement that that's a better version than the original draft?
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better.
Okay, then probably your comments need to be with respect to
Yes.
that
The
version.
second version.
And it's largely in there, esteemed colleague.
Okay.
And I'm sure Ross could take you exactly where
Yeah,
to.
I apologize, Mr. Brady. I was reviewing the red line version.
I started with the red line as well, trust me.
Sorry.
And then I got to the other version, I said, oh, well,
I
this
just
is
have one more recommendation, and once again, I apologize because I don't have the second version. Under neighborhood integrity, and once again, I might be repeating some action items or some objectives here, but I would like to have council will adopt policies that protect the character and stability of single-family neighborhoods. Is there anywhere in the second version of our strategic plan that is identified?
Yes, sir.
Can we add that council will adopt policies that protect the character and stability of single-family neighborhoods?
Page 616 of 1298, number 2.12, or 2.12. That's right the first time.
3.2 is continued investment, maintenance, and rehabilitation of neighborhood infrastructure.
No, sir. 2.12, consider policy options beyond familial-based occupancy regulations which can help mitigate occupancy issues in single-family neighborhoods under neighborhood integrity on page 616.
Which one? 2.1? What are you reading there?
I'm addressing my esteemed
2.12.
colleagues' comments relative
No,
to
but-
single-family neighborhoods.
So it is included. I apologize, I don't have that copy in front
Yeah,
of me.
what he's done here is he's presented the old format, and then he's presented a secondary format, which is laudable, I think, and he's really captured everything, even mine, and woven it into this document in a really cool way, I thought.
I agree.
I will, I will go with that is in there. I would just like to make sure that adopt policies to protect the character and stability of single-family neighborhoods. The policy is the one that I'm really focusing on there.
And there's a secondary bullet point that gets to it as well, 2.31, same page, continue to support and partner with homeowner and neighborhood associations to proactively address their priorities and interests.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, any further comments? Those are the
No,
two
sir.
main points you wanted to have in there, and it looks like they are covered. Ms. McElhaney?
I just had one same neighborhood integrity section. Item 1.2 reads, provide options for affordable, dense housing in Northgate, Wolfpen Creek, et cetera, et cetera. I would like to change that to more affordable, or, and Ross, you're really good at wordsmithing. I think that we can have dense housing and we can have affordable housing that both impact our overall housing crunch positively. So I would like to have that so we're trying to achieve more affordable and more dense, not affordable dense. We may have something that's affordable that's not dense, or something that's dense that's not affordable, but either way.
Affordable dense housing.
I think it limits us to one or the other.
Basically, you mean more than current,
Huh?
more than the current state of the city. That's what you mean by more?
Yeah, well, yeah. Like I said, Ross, you have.
I think the council member's saying, rather, as this reads, for affordable, dense housing, as if dense is also describing the affordable housing. I think she's saying it should be, we should have more affordable and more dense, but they aren't necessarily the same thing. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
You got that?
I can make a change to reflect that if that's the will of the
Objections to that
council.
wording?
I'm good with that change.
You're okay?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm okay with it.
That sounds like everybody says good. Adopt that change. Ms. McElhaney, anything else?
No, I really, really do like the new format a lot. It's very easy to read. It's got all the ideas where they flow naturally. So I thank you, Ross.
And a lot easier to refer to because you got
Yes.
numbers and letters, yeah. Mr. Yancey, you have any comments?
I don't think so, Mayor. I like it.
Mr. Schaefer?
No, thank you, Ross.
I do appreciate I went through the red line. It looks like you adopted the language of most of the comments that you heard there, and I didn't find any omissions that I could remember. So with my notes,
Good.
I think you've covered those. And given that the second version doesn't really have a red line to it because it's really all new in the way it's presented, it's hard to pick those out. But
Right, so the second version took that red line version as if it had already been approved and incorporated that wording into this. So
Okay.
that was used as the base for the new format.
Okay, very, very good. So are we all in accordance then? Mr. Wright, do you have any more comments?
I was going to make a motion.
Make a motion then.
I make a motion to accept the new format with the desired changes as the City Council 2026 strategic plan update.
Second.
Second by Mr. Schaefer, I think I heard. Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I think you got a unanimous support, Mr. Brady. Thank you very much for the good listening skills you have and your ability to put the words on paper in a way that they communicate well. So thank you very much for your work, and we'll move on. Does anybody, it's only 8 o'clock, so anybody need a break or can we move on? Okay, we're up to the regular agenda. So we now have quite a lengthy regular agenda, but keep in mind that we will combine some of these presentations. But item 1, at 9.1 stands on its own. So let me just read this, and Ms. Kane can come forward. She's already there, but I'll read it. Presentation, discussion, possible action on an amendment to the Construction Manager at Risk CMAR contract with Garney Construction Incorporated, accepting the guaranteed maximum price GMP of $27,886,767.07, 7 cents, for the drilling of 3 production wells, mechanical piping, and well connection lines as part of wells 10, 11, and 12, the 10, 11, and 12 project, plus the city's contingency in the amount of $697,169.18 for a total appropriation of $28,583,936.25 and approval of a resolution declaring intent to reimburse certain expenditures with proceeds from that, because keep in mind that resolution is part of this agenda item. Because some of it will be, a substantial part of it, paid by debt. So, as I recall, Mr. Kane, we've looked at packages as we've gone along through this well project. Bring us up to date on what you want to present on this.
Yes, thank you. Jennifer Kane, Capital Projects. As you mentioned, this is the 4th GMP amendment to the project and our largest so far. This does include the actual drilling of the 3 wells, the mechanical piping associated with that, and then the installation of the well collection lines. Y'all previously approved the materials for the collection lines. We expect to have one more guaranteed maximum price, the last package, which will include all the electrical components, as well as the microtunneling that we need to do under the Little Brazos. So that should be coming to you in April or early May, and that'll be our last of the 5 GMPs. So construction's well underway. You can see on the screen where they've got some of the access roads in. One of the well pads is there, so they're moving right along. But this is our next step in the process. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, nobody's signed up to speak on this item. It's not a public hearing, but the council may have questions for staff. Question for staff, starting with Mr. Schaefer.
Thanks, Jennifer. I really appreciate the visuals and the presentations, and I just have, I think, a simple question on this. So I haven't been to the site. Can you tell me, I'm looking at an aerial view, and I'm looking at a satellite view. Can you show me where this, our drone view or whatever we're looking at on the right, how it aligns with what's on the left of what I'm looking at?
Yes, so if what you're looking at on the left, kind of where, like if I was standing here taking the picture on the right, I'd be on this far side of the property, the far, if you're looking at the screen, the far left side. To be standing there and you're looking towards what direction is that?
Well, there's some water in the
East.
drone photo or the whatever. Is that the water that I'm seeing in the satellite image?
Yes, there's some water that you can see there. It is, yes.
Okay, I'm still not quite clear, but that's okay. Thanks.
So turn it.
Yeah, if you kind of turn this page, you turn it kind of this on top of it, kind of turn it that way. Yep. Yes.
Some of this is old gravel pit country. Was that water in a gravel pit, or is that just part of Little Brazos, or what?
There was water on the side. There is some gravel pit there as well, and then the Little Brazos runs through there. But that's not what you're seeing in that image. There's just some water, I guess like a little pond lake space that's there.
Anything further, Mr. Schaefer?
No.
Okay, Mr. Yancey?
Thank you, Mayor. Mrs. Kane, what are the 2 pad sites that we're looking at on the picture on the right?
So one that you see, the closest at the largest one right there is where the trailer compound is set up. You can see there, they've got their trailer where the job site is, where they're working. And this first one is which well is right there? That's well 11 is the first one you see on the left-hand side.
Right, so these pad sites either represent equipment, park yards, or they represent pad sites wherein a new well is going to be drilled, correct?
Correct.
Now look at the picture on the left and look at the postage stamp of white pad sites all over that larger view. Those are all, or a significant number of them, are water wells of ours and other jurisdictions, correct?
Yes, some of them are, yes.
So in other words, we're all putting straws in the ground in the same patch of land, and we're all trying to get it within reason down here to the same population, correct?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Let me just add a question here. The acreage of that green area on the left is appropriate for 3 wells by groundwater district standards, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And what is the acreage there?
Do you remember?
160 or something, or per
I
it's
think
3
it's
times?
closer to 300.
300 acres total? But in other words, it meets all the standards of groundwater district, right?
It does. It meets the
And the
permit
siting and
requirements.
location, all of that's, we've got all the certification we need for that.
Yes.
Yep, okay, thank you. Any other questions? No other questions? Okay, the item on the agenda is to agree to this CMAR guaranteed maximum price of plus the contingency and a resolution declaring the intention to reimburse certain expenditures with proceeds from debt.
Before we go to vote, can I ask the city manager a really quick question?
Sure, well, please, yeah.
In the event we approve this tonight, City Manager Woods, would it be an absolute preclusion from us having, well, we have committed ourselves beyond a point where we could talk about cooperative efforts between other water utilities up to and including an ILA all the way to a merger?
No, I mean, I would say, obviously, that's more open-ended. And not to go too much into it, but obviously, we have to, in order to have the historic well rights that we have, we need to drill these. So the wells, I would say, we're committed to the wells and where they are. But as it relates to transmission and things, it certainly could be changed and is something we have investigated in the past and continue to. It would just depend on the specific circumstances. But like any project, if it were to make sense, then we could modify it.
So voting for this tonight does not constitute crossing a Rubicon from which there is no return as far as cooperative efforts with others, true or false?
I don't believe so, no.
No, but it does commit us to spending the amount of money.
Correct.
To do the drilling of those 3 wells, correct?
Correct.
Okay. It's just that what you do with the water and how you incorporate that in a major larger.
I would say,
It would
just
be-
briefly, I mean, as an example, just because the same reason we have wells now and other people have wells and we have other infrastructure, if we decided that working together somehow made sense, and we do have interconnects and things, that's what we do. So even if it was all constructed, it wouldn't necessarily preclude some type of cooperative effort.
But what you're alluding to right there is past cooperative efforts as we encounter them on an ad hoc basis along the way. There's never been a strategic discussion about strategic cooperation among multiple utilities in the water provision area, or there's never been a ratified agreement.
Yeah,
to
I would
do-
say there have been a lot of discussions. I don't want to say there haven't been any agreements because I think it depends how you define that. But we, at least in my time here and knowing about historically, there haven't been, I think, kind of what you're talking about, again, big combined transmission lines or facilities and kind of like that kind of cooperation.
There's never been a BAVISMA level or library system level strategic integration of multiple governmental entities in order to provision a service or commodity more efficiently. True or false?
Not at that level, no.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think there has been numerous, as you consider, you called it ad hoc market exchanges of water at value, and that would not preclude us from doing the same. If we had excess water and wanted to sell it to somebody, we could certainly do it. But to carry it any further than that, your word ad hoc is correct.
I would also say that applies to acquisition and water rights. And the only one I would say is probably the best example, didn't involve necessarily infrastructure, but was our recent effort cohesively amongst a bunch of entities to deal with the water rights issue, but that was different than an infrastructure.
And I didn't want to go too far afield, but thank you for, now that you've broached it, that did constitute in the courts a strategic level cooperation that yielded success for the citizens we serve, and not just in this jurisdiction, correct?
Correct.
But it has nothing to do with these 3 wells, so I'll discontinue the discussion of that.
Copy that.
So we are faced with an item on the agenda that I described earlier, and I hope that you got the answer that you were looking for or needed an answer, whether you liked it or not. I'll look for a motion, a second on item 9.1.
I move approval.
Mr. Smith moves approval. Do I hear a second? Mr. White seconds the item, the agenda item, and keeping in mind that that includes not only the amount plus the contingency plus a resolution declaring intention to reimburse certain expenditures with proceeds from debt. Assuming there's no further discussion needed, all those in favor of the motion to approve this item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, item 9.2 and 9.3, as I understand it, these are both public hearings, and we will have one presentation and one public hearing, but we'll take separate votes because the first one is on land use, the second one's on zoning. So let me read it for the record. Item 9.2, public hearing, presentation, discussion, possible action regarding an ordinance amending the comprehensive plan, future land use and character map from neighborhood center to urban residential for approximately 6.995 acres, generally located at 8650 Turkey Creek Road. That's 9.9. I'll go ahead and read 9.32 rather. I'll read 9.3. Public hearing, presentation, discussion, possible action regarding an ordinance amending Appendix A, Unified Development Ordinance, Article 4, Zoning District, Section 4.2, official zoning map of the Code of Ordinances of the City of College Station, Texas, by changing the zoning district's boundaries from R rural to MF multifamily for approximately 6.995 acres, generally located at 8650 Turkey Creek Road. So you understand, same piece of property we're talking about, 2 different levels of needed consideration. All right, I've done that. Now it's your turn, Mr. Schramm.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Gabriel Schramm, Planning and Development Services. I just want to spend a second to outline there are 2 individual items within this presentation. First item is a comp plan amendment, and the second one being a rezoning accompanying that. This evening's first request is to amend the comprehensive plan's future land use map for about 7 acres of land from neighborhood center to urban residential, as well as rezoning from rural to multifamily. The subject property is surrounded by apartments to the north, Turkey Creek Road to the east, a single-family home to the south, and undeveloped land to the east. The urban residential land use designations are generally appropriate for a range of high-density multifamily and attached residential developments in various forms, including townhomes, apartment buildings, mixed-use buildings, and limited non-residential uses compatible with the surrounding area. The applicant has expressed a desire to develop a multifamily apartment complex. What the applicant is proposing is appropriate in the context of this area, as it would allow for supportive housing and density near the biocorridor. The second request is to rezone the currently undeveloped lot located northwest of the intersection of Turkey Creek Road and Raymond Stotzer from rural to multifamily. The multifamily zoning district is designed for areas having intense development and is flexible and allows for townhomes, single-unit dwellings, 2-unit dwellings, multifamily buildings, and optional mixed-use development. There was a neighborhood meeting hosted on January 20th for the comprehensive plan amendment, where there were approximately 16 attendees. They did not express any general concerns regarding the development or the land use change. There was one general question about Turkey Creek Road. In conclusion, I have not received any direct inquiries regarding this request. Staff does recommend approval of this proposed comprehensive plan's land use amendment and the potential rezoning, as it will then be aligned with the comprehensive plan. The rezoning has met the criteria outlined within the UDO and is entitled to the proposed use. These items were heard at the February 19th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, where it was voted on 6-1 in favor of approval. That does conclude my presentation at this time. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I believe the applicant is here to answer questions as well.
Let me start with one question that I think came up at the planning and zoning. I don't know whether there's a planning and zoning person here, but I'll invite them forward if they wish. Are there any, the other two multifamily properties that are shown on here that are already rezoned and either built or being built, are any of those, are those what you would call market rate apartments, or are they designed and built for student rental?
Yeah, so I can talk about the property that's abutting this one. I believe it's for that student housing. I'm not sure about the northeastern property here, though.
It's what you call market rate?
I'm not sure about that one. I know this one that's directly abutting this one's more student-oriented.
It's what?
Student-oriented.
It is, so that inside the buildings are separate bathroom bed units?
I believe so on this abutting property. I'm not sure about the properties a little further down Turkey Creek Road.
I'm talking about, just the abutting property is even more important to me.
Yes, sir.
So that's already, in your mind, is designed and built as student housing?
Correct, yeah, and it's been there for a while. It kind of predates the land use associated with it as well.
That's the one between Atlas, Pear, and Turkey Creek, just north of it, basically?
Yes, sir.
Northwest, okay. Because I understood that in the write-up, on the zoning side, that was the intent of this new property was student housing, not market rate apartments.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Let me turn to the rest of my council members and see if any of them have any questions. Mr. Yancey left, so I guess that means he didn't have any questions. Okay, so there's no other questions from staff, or from dais. This is a public hearing. I have one, well, let me, before I go to that, do we have a Planning and Zoning Commission member here?
No.
Okay. There was a 6-1 vote. That's not a major diversion, but I had not attended that meeting, so I was not sure what the objection was of one member, but it's still 6-1. So let's open the public hearing, and I have Mr. Padden Holt, who wishes to speak to the council on this item. Let him come forward.
Yes, sir. I'm happy to wait until after 9-3, since it's the same objection on both
9-2 and
ones.
9-3, this is one.
We've already done that?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
You got zoning up here now. The previous slide he had up there was the land use change. So we're having one public hearing on both of those items, but we'll take separate votes when the time comes. And I should have recognized that maybe the developer wishes to speak as well, but I'll let you, now that you're up here, you can speak to us.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you, and good to see you again. I was here whenever we had the Economic Development Master Plan conversation. And just to be clear, it's my objection and my encouragement to deny this particular rezoning and reorganizing of it is not because I'm anti-student housing. That's not it. As you know from my economic development plan, it's that I'm just a zealous advocate for something that our community desperately and drastically needs, which is an energetic, entertaining business center within our community. And so why do we need this? Particularly, as you remember from the Economic Development Master Plan, it calls for, in large part, the recruitment of businesses, in particular, I think it was 25 to 35-year-old high-end, high-wage workers to come to College Station and to recruit those businesses here, particularly with a strong emphasis on drilling the economic oil that is Texas A&M. That's the one that brought us to the dance. I'm appreciative of that fact. But also at the same time, not being in that oil field, having a private law practice, I'm also recruiting the same folks. I'm trying to get them here. And as you'll recall, I'm having a hard time doing that. And so, but in that nature, and within the theme of our Economic Development Master Plan, I think it's important to remember that we are not the only city that is trying to achieve that leverage and to drill that well. The city of Bryan is operating in the same patch as we are. I'm sorry, I'm watching a lot of Landman, so I'm just double downing on the oil and gas puns here. But they're not the only ones. And I sent Ian, I'm sorry, a couple of links that he said he would share with you earlier. I don't know if you've seen this, but in November of 2024, the city of Bryan announced a pretty comprehensive redevelopment of the downtown, the north area of the downtown. And whenever I say pretty comprehensive, there's going to be 3 6-story buildings that are coming in, conference centers, multi-phase, but nevertheless, that's there. In the similar fashion, I don't know if you've seen this, Clayton or Williams Cole, they announced that they're going to do a AAA business park called the Lumen, just north of the Stella Hotel. Business park. So, and that is an area that we don't have. But in the comp plan, MAT 2.2, it shows that there's really only 2 places for business centers. One that we have right here, and then the other one is over in Midtown. Midtown's kind of been earmarked for Bomber Stadium and the like. But nevertheless, this is the one area, and the business center is going in there already, and it's the one area that we need to tag along on, so because we're behind the 8 ball. We don't need to be left behind. And I'll leave you with this, and if I can go over time a little bit in advance, I apologize, but I'll leave you with this. At the economic development, after my comments at the economic development meeting, the feedback that I got was, well, City of College Station was developed around A&M. This is a company town. And respectfully, and I genuinely mean that, respectfully, for me, that's short-sighted. That doesn't scream to me that we have a vision and a direction for our city in this area. And that is one reason that just because your predecessors made a mistake in urban planning and development, for me, mistakes aren't an excuse for neglect in the future. They're the reason, and that should be your motivation to find the solution. We don't have that. We need it. And so I'll leave you with this challenge and with this encouragement as the citizen here, as a business owner here, as somebody that wants the business community in College Station to thrive and be successful, not only for this generation, for the next generation, but we have the opportunity to say, hey, this is what College Station is. That's not what I'm worried about. What can College Station be in the future? That's my challenge to you. So I encourage you to deny this rezoning, preserve what little business center opportunity we have from a real estate standpoint, and move forward into the future with a very dedicated business focus with an intention on developing those projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Holt. Could I ask if there is somebody that is representing the developer here that wishes to speak to the committee? I should have invited you up here first. I apologize. And introduce yourself and what your company is.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Zachary Davin. I work for Quiddity Engineering in College Station, and I'm a local resident in the Wynwood subdivision.
So you're the engineering firm, not the developer themselves, but you're
Yes, sir.
representing the developer.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The developer is here with me, along with the architect.
Okay. Would you like to add anything about why this is student housing as opposed to market ready? Or
I think I would like to simultaneously, as representative developer, but also a local representative of the community, while Mr. Holtz, and I agree, as the young working professional who you're trying to target, he brings up valid concerns. I do not think that this track it's part of the conversation, but it's not necessarily related. His concerns are not necessarily related with this track. The developers would like to continue to build more multifamily and other profitable ventures. The reason they're choosing to do student housing is that's where they've ran the numbers, and student housing is that's where it's most affordable, most profitable. And so if it was more profitable to be a business center, then they would have done a business center. And in addition, and my recommendation is to approve the zoning and, the density as well, but the developer would like to also continue to do work. As I previously mentioned, and to do so, they would like to also, if this goes through, they're going to be able to take out a lease as another business, taking out a lease in the College Station area in Century Square. But basically, just the economic situation point to it being a multifamily track as opposed to a business park.
I understand, yeah, there's really two different arguments here. I introduced one, and Mr. Holt introduced a different one, but let me just ask a question, maybe others will as well. The residential units that would be built in here would come with fully furnished apartments and hookups of all kinds, be ready, move-in ready, is that correct?
I would like to, yes, sir.
Okay, so it's truly a student-ready, intent was to rent to students, which I love students, I'm not opposed to that, I'm just curious about that level this far out, but if the other one right next door is already successful and has a similar design element to it, then I guess it lessens my concern, shall I say. The business park, the business district idea is certainly an interesting one that Mr. Holt brought up. I'll let council members consider that as well. Are there any questions for the developers, engineer? Seeing no other questions, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak to the council on this subject? Seeing none, I'll declare the, did I open the public hearing? I did. So I declare the public hearing is closed. The council may wish to, should consider item 9.2 first, and then 9.3, 9.2 being the land use change. Chair will entertain a motion on 9.2.
I'll move to approve, Mayor, but I'd like to speak to it, and I'd like to speak to Mr.
Okay.
Holt, if I may.
If you get a second, then you can speak.
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Schaefer seconds that. Mr. Yancey, if you'd like to speak to your motion, please.
Thank you very much. Mr. Holt, I agree with everything you said, except as it relates to this track. This community is at an inflection point, and we have to make some decisions about who we want to be. We've got an incredible economic development team. We have an incredible value proposition for the business community that, to this point, we have not leveraged to the degree that we could, I believe, as one member of council. And that's why I'm excited about that economic development plan. I'm excited about the prospects for Class A office space, something that reaches, heights and aesthetic appeal and whatnot in perhaps our last remaining business park adjacent to the baseball fields. And we've had discussions, this council, about other areas where we might make strategic investments in the future so that we have something vibrant and exciting from a business perspective, just like what you describe. I think we're picturing the same thing. I just don't think we can take this little track right here and, and make that happen all in this spot. I think there's other areas where we can do that. I believe this council is focused on getting that done. I know that I am, and I hear your words, passionately spoken, agree with you 100%, just not on this track.
You wish to speak to your second? Okay, any other comments from council members regarding this? Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor regarding the land use change, which is item 9.2. Given no further comments, we will take a vote on that. All those in favor of the motion to approve 9.2 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Like the motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Item 9.3, which is the zoning change that now is appropriate given the land use change. That's item 9.3. I won't read it again, other than to say that it is from R rural to MF multifamily. Do I hear a motion in a second?
Move approval.
Motion by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Wright. Do you wish to speak to your motion?
No.
No further, any other comments? Okay, all those in favor of the motion on 9.3, the zoning change, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Shrum, and thank you to the development team. We look forward to more residential units ready to go for people in this community. We appreciate very much your work. Okay, item 9.4 jump, I guess we're going ahead to 9.4 now, which is another zoning item. Again, Mr. Schrum, I'll read it. Public hearing, presentation, discussion, possible action regarding an ordinance amending Appendix A, UDO, Article 4, zoning districts, Section 4.2, official zoning map, of the Code of Ordinances, of the City of College Station, Texas, by changing the zoning district boundary from CI Commercial Industrial to PMUD, Planned Mixed Use District, for approximately 1.24 acres at 200 Texas Avenue, generally located northwest of the intersection of Texas Avenue and University Drive. Mr. Schrum.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council members. Gabriel Schrum, Planning and Development Services. This evening's request is to rezone a lot from commercial industrial to planned mixed-use district with a single modification requested and community benefits provided. The subject property is surrounded by a hotel to the north, south, and east across Texas Avenue within the city of Bryan. To the west is developed as a multifamily apartment complex. This property's land use is urban center. Urban center areas are appropriate for the most intense development and a mix of uses arranged in compact and walkable patterns. These areas tend to consist of multi-story residential, commercial, and office uses that may be mixed vertically within mixed-use structures or horizontally in an integrated manner. Appropriate zoning districts within this land use include multifamily, townhouse, mixed use, and limited suburban commercial zoning. This property is within the Northeast Gateway redevelopment plan. It creates a coordinated strategy for future change and redevelopment along two of the busiest corridors in the city, being Texas Avenue and University Drive. This plan is divided into two sub-areas, being the Crossing and Eastgate Main. This is a part of the Crossing, which is anticipated to have a high level of redevelopment, vertical mixed use, increases in housing options and stock, and an expanded multimodal transportation system with urban form. This slide shows the proposed change in zoning from commercial industrial to the planned mixed-use district. And I did want to provide a bit of information on the proposed use and development. The applicant is proposing to develop a 6-story Hampton Inn hotel with easy attractions, dining, and entertainment with amenities provided internally for commercial use. This slide shows that concept plan for the hotel development with approximate building and parking areas, overall access with connectivity, and some green areas where landscaping will be found. With PMUDs and PDDs, applicants are able to work with the city to request modifications to the development code by providing benefits that help support it. The applicant is asking for one modification of the proposed PMUD. The modification is a reduction of the ground floor area requirement of the planned mixed-use district from 25% to 18% per section 5.1K4 of the UDO. The applicant has worked with staff to come up with community benefits such as providing additional landscaping points, approximately 3 times the required amount, and 50% more architectural relief elements on the visible facades beyond the required amount on site. In conclusion, I have not received any inquiries regarding this request, and staff does recommend approval of proposed rezoning and proposed concept plan as it will be aligned with the comprehensive plan. The rezoning has met the criteria outlined in the UDO and is entitled to the proposed use. These items were heard at the February 19th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, where they provided a recommendation of 7-0 in favor of this request. And that does conclude my presentation at this time. I'm available for any questions, and I believe the applicant is available for any questions as well.
Okay, council members, you have any questions for staff on this item? Mr. Schaefer.
Gabriel, can you go back one? So I see the concept laid out here. I don't see where it's going to take access to Texas Avenue.
Yeah, I mean, so we'll either consolidate driveways, we'll take a look at this at the site plan phase too, but concept plan wise, we're, looking at the driveway distance and some of the connectivity. You can see that portion going to that southern lot there.
Right.
So if they're not utilizing that existing cut that's, next to that parking area, they'll be utilizing one of the other properties.
Okay. And then on the next slide, I felt like, I don't know why I'm not figuring this out, but that first meritorious modification, the reduction of the ground floor area requirement to 18%.
Yes, sir.
And then the requirement for the UDO now is 25. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Can you explain that a little more to me, what's going on there?
Yeah, so pretty much when we're looking at the, the ground floor area of the site, there's a minimum percentage being 25. So the first story or the first floor of the hotel, it needs to be 25% of that lot.
Because it's going to be 6 stories, it's going to be less.
And yeah, there's a small building footprint. It kind of speaks to what their design is, and I can let the applicant kind of speak a little bit more to why they're requesting this. But yeah, that's pretty much the requirement.
I see it now. Thanks. I'm sorry.
Would you go back to that map? There you go.
Yes, sir.
Did I understand in reading the packet that there is a cross-access somewhere in here? Oh, I see. It's on the front side into, what is that? That's another hotel next door?
Yeah,
So there's still cross-access there?
correct,
No
yeah.
no access on the backside. I guess that's probably a building back there, maybe, or a parking lot for the North Point Crossing.
Correct, yeah, that's that apartment complex is developed.
So they just got the one cross-access into that next door apartment, which has got a swimming pool in front of it. A hotel, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Is
And I
this
see where they-
Applebee's?
That was the old Applebee's property. I ate there a lot of times. That driveway that you see kind of in the background there is the existing driveway, I assume, which probably TxDOT has already authorized.
Right, yeah, and
If
like
they
I s-
change that, they got to go to TxDOT.
Right, and like I said, whenever the site plan does come in, we're going to take a look at that, and one of the external reviewers is TxDOT, so we'll make sure to coordinate with them and make sure to get the 1058 access packet and all those pieces sorted out.
So there is one cross-access for emergency use or for ingress and egress, ease of accessing it by patrons. Okay, any further questions from the council members? This is a public hearing. No one has signed up to speak, but I will open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone here that wishes to speak to the council on this item. It looked to me like the way it's proposed, it's another Hampton Inn. Is the developer here? And Mr. Patel? You're representing him. I think that's who signed the documents.
Hi, how are you? No, I'm Arjun Dumla. I am part of the development team. Yes, sir.
Okay. And this is not directly pertinent here, but I guess a fair question. So this is to be a Hampton Inn,
Yes, sir.
and the other hotel that is Hampton Inn in that area will change flags
Eventually, yes, sir.
eventually? That's sort of the plan?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to see somebody taking that property and figuring out what to do with it. It's been sitting there for several years, empty. I'm happy to see somebody developing something on it. Thank you very much.
Me too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, I will, seeing no one else come forward, I'll close the public hearing and turn to the will of the council. This is
Move to
item-
approve, Mayor.
Motion by Mr. Yancey,
Second.
second by Ms. McElhaney, to approve the request for rezoning of this property at 200 Texas Avenue. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much, and thank you for bringing the investment to the community. Okay, zipping forward, another public hearing on 9.5. Mr. Howell is coming forward. Public hearing, presentation, discussion, possible action regarding an ordinance amending Appendix A UDO. Well, I've said this several times tonight. Article 3, Development Review Procedures. Section 3.5, Concept Plans, PMUD and PDD Districts of the Code of Ordinances of the City of College Station, Texas, by amending certain sections relating to requirements, concept plans, and community benefits for PDD plan development districts. Mr. Howell, bring us up to date on this one.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Jeff Howell with the Planning and Development Services Department. This item is, as the Mayor mentioned, is an amendment to the Plan Development District section of the Unified Development Ordinance. This item was previously brought forward to the City Council back in November, and I'll highlight the changes to this item when I get to it, but just wanted to start with that, and I will give the same presentation as I did last time, since this is an amendment to the Unified Development Ordinance. So just to give a background of PDDs, PDDs were first created back in 1998. A concept plan was introduced in 2001, and community benefits were added in 2003. The review process for PDDs is similar to a rezoning in that they do have a concept plan similar to what you saw on the previous item. They do include meritorious modifications as well as community benefits to offset those modifications. After a concept plan is approved, it can be amended either through minor amendments which are approved by staff or major amendments which come before City Council for approval. So why would somebody do a plan development district? This is the definition as in the Unified Development Ordinance. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but it is for innovative concepts that may not fit into the typical zoning districts, and they do provide for meritorious modifications to address those variations that are being requested, and then provide community benefits to offset those modifications because they may not fit in, and they do, again, have a concept plan associated with them. This is a look at the PDDs within the city of College Station. There's just a little over 130, and the average size is just about 20 acres. So some of the challenges that we've seen with PDDs in the past is that the level of detail does vary. The community benefits that have been provided in some instances have not been tangible, they're privatized or not enforceable, and then the modifications that might come forward have been subjective. And so just to give a little bit of history on this item and the amendments that are before you this evening, this item, or the changes to the Plan Development District, has been a part of the plan of work for quite some time. We did have a workshop of this item back in June of 2024, and then we had a stakeholder meeting that same year and worked in developing the ordinance that was brought forward to the Planning and Zoning Commission, as well as City Council back in November. Direction at that time was provided to staff to take it back and receive additional feedback from the stakeholders, and then go back through the process. And so that's why it's coming back before you all this evening. This item, we did have a stakeholder meeting in January to get some of that feedback, and then we did work on updating the ordinance, which is before you tonight. And that was worked into the red lines that were provided as part of the packet. This item was brought forward to the Planning and Zoning Commission back last month, and it was recommended for approval unanimously. And so I'll go through the proposed amendments one at a time, and I'll pause when I get to the changes that were made from the previous time that you guys heard this. This does include minimum standards to have that all plan development districts are to include. It does provide now a suggested list of community benefits that can be provided, and includes additional differentiation between larger and smaller PDDs, and additional clarification to provide for more predictability and flexibility as these come forward. So this is an outline of the amendment. Similar to the last time this was brought forward, it's organized by the request and the reason for the amendment. The red lines were provided in the packet, but I'll go through them fairly quickly. The first is the concept plan standards. The level of detail for those that are less than 20 acres, we did provide some clarification for the elements to be provided and update the language for community benefits that are to be included. For those greater than 20 acres, we did update the language to provide a more generalized concept plan that can be phased in later, as we've seen that previously in other developments. For those that are 5 acres or more, this is one of the items that was identified from the feedback that we received back in January from the stakeholders. It now includes just 2 items that are to be required for those plan development districts that are 5 acres or more. It is to have open space to be provided at 10% of the developed area, and then for those that are non-residential or multifamily, to provide increased landscaping 10% above the minimum requirements. Another item that was provided as part of the feedback from the stakeholders that we received was to provide, instead of a point system that was previously brought forward to you all, we did include now a list of suggested tangible benefits that an applicant can provide to offset those modifications. This would be to allow for applicants to see what we would constitute as community benefits, but it does also allow for flexibility if they do offer something that isn't on this list. Again, this is a list of suggested items. There's about 18 of them, but it does also offer flexibility for other items that might not be on this list. It is also not a prescribed list in that they have to provide any of them, because there might be things that would offset the request more so, or something that the neighborhood has been requesting that the particular development may be able to provide. All of these items would be subject to approval, and then they would be allowed to provide other things that, again, might not be on this list. And the last thing that was provided in the amendment before you is that for when somebody wants to come in and modify a concept plan for those less than 20 acres, this is a list of qualifiers that an applicant can come forward for minor modifications. Again, that would be something that would be approved at the staff level. And then for those that are greater than 20 acres, as long as they don't change the arrangement of zoning or the meritorious modifications, that can also be approved administratively. Anything beyond this list would come back before the Planning and Zoning Commission and City Council for approval. And that concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
I just, one quick question of clarification. If you go back several slides, you talked about the under 20 and over 20, back a few, oh yeah, right there. Greater than 20 acres, more generalized concept plan to be phased later. What do you mean by that?
Right. So if somebody wanted to come in with a concept plan that was greater than 20 acres.
But they'll build phases.
Correct. And so as those phases come into fruition, then they would come back before you all with that concept plan to show that development.
All right. You mean the applicant would be having phases rather than us phasing in
That's
the
correct, yes.
considerations? Okay,
That's
I got it.
correct.
Because later on, you cover a lot of the language change. Council members, you have any questions? This item has come before us before, and we sent it back, and Mr. Yancey, we'll start with you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. My understanding, Jeff, is that, my recollection, I'm 60 now, so I've slept since then. You guys brought this to us. There was, concerns may be a strong word, but we encouraged you guys to reach out to the private sector, the development community. That was inclusive of Veronica, correct?
That's correct.
And now you're coming back to us with something that meets staff satisfaction as well as Veronica's. Is that correct?
Right. This item was amended from what you previously heard to address some of those considerations and the feedback that we received, and so.
Yeah, when we get to the public hearing, Ms. Morgan may wish to speak to us about how she feels about it, but
Okay.
I don't want us putting words in her mouth.
Copy that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Ms. Schaefer, did you raise your hand?
Yeah, so thanks, Jeff, and thanks for the iterations that you all have gone through on behalf of this. That's a lot of work. You go a couple slides forward. Right there.
This one?
Sorry, back. The one that had the list of,
Yes.
the modifications. So on this, I think it's great to have the different options for folks, and it gives more flexibility, was the intent, I think. Are these all scored the same?
So there is no point system. They are organized in the red lines. If you look at that, they're organized from a more substantial nature to a less substantial nature, but there is no point system associated with them. This just highlights those that are in that list. There's about 18 of them, like I mentioned. And so there could be others that an applicant can bring forward, but ultimately it would be discussed as kind of like with the previous item to identify what would constitute as a benefit to offset those modifications that the applicant is requesting.
So that'll be a judgment call in the discussion.
That's correct, and then ultimately it would come before Planning and Zoning Commission as well as City Council for approval.
So I'm just trying to, I'm sorry, I did look over the red line, but I didn't study it carefully. I apologize. So I mean, like, it's hard to understand how many of these things might be a part of a decision that's made. You know, like when I think about building transparency, 30%, I think about, I mean, my immediate thought was a lot of architecture these days is big on windows, right? Which I'm very happy about. And I think a lot of people benefit from that. But if you've got that coming in at 30% as a part of what would happen anyway, then that's, I guess they're still getting credit for that. But how many other things might they be encouraged to use as from our standpoint versus what they would be willing to do? I'm not getting a clear understanding of that.
Right. So with this list, this is above and beyond what the requirements would be for that particular development. So perhaps that particular development might already require 30% transparency, so they might not elect to use that one, but ultimately this list is not exhaustive. This just provides for options or suggested community benefits that an applicant may choose to use that could offset those requirements. And again, these would be above and beyond what the code would require.
Okay.
Is that, Ms. Schaefer, you done? Ms. McElhaney, you have a question?
I have some comments, but I'll wait till we get through the
Okay.
public hearing.
Any other questions of clarification?
Robin.
Excuse me, Mayor. Robin Macias, Planning and Development Services. Mr. Schaefer, I just wanted to kind of answer your question a little bit better in that it depends on what the request is. So, for example, if they are requesting to build a use that is up next to single-family residential, we may ask for more benefits to offset their request. So it depends on what their request is as to how many benefits we may be looking for.
So I appreciate that, Robin. So it's like a negotiation depending on the circumstances.
Correct.
And it also, what makes sense. I'm really glad to see the flexibility to give staff some discretion that, of course, then comes forward to us for approval. But I think the way this is set up, the way Jeff's got it outlined, it speaks to common sense, rational trade-offs versus something that's rigid based on a point system, which is what they had before. I really like this.
Okay. Any other questions? Did P&Z hear this? I missed what you said on that.
Yes, the Planning and Zoning Commission did hear this back last month, and they did recommend approval unanimously.
Unanimously?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was 7-0.
Okay, thank you. If there are no other questions at the moment from the dais, I will open the public hearing, since this item 9.5 is available for public hearing, to see if anyone wishes to speak to the council. Ms. Morgan, you're always welcome to come forward. When we had this last discussion, whenever in November, I think there were a number of questions raised, and I'm happy to see you made substantial progress. We'll find out from Ms. Morgan if she thinks we made any progress.
Yes, you did.
Ah.
Yeah, I was basically just here this evening to thank staff for listening to our concerns, and it wasn't just mine. There were other development community members who we were speaking to. I just happened to be the spokesperson. So we were very concerned about the point system. It was a bit punitive to the smaller sites, and you guys know as well as I do, when we bring you PDDs, it's usually because it's an infill site. And it's very, very important for us to be able to have those PDDs, because that's the only way we can convince the neighbors of what we're doing. If you go in for a straight rezoning, a number of things could be built under multifamily, for instance, and you cannot convince the neighbors what it's going to be unless you have more information. And the only way to do that in your system, the way the zoning ordinance is written, is through the use of a PDD. And in that case, we get to promise things to the community instead of it just saying, we're just going to do multifamily and they don't really know what we're going to be doing. So, so the PDDs are very, very important to us. And one of the problems that we saw in the new PDD ordinance was it was a bit punitive with that point system against the small sites. But it's the small sites that we really need to have the PDDs for, because those infill developments, those infill areas are very, very difficult to develop. And we need to have them to be able to be developed given the amount of land area that we have left in the city limits. So we appreciate staff working with us, discussing what our concerns were, and rewriting the ordinance to alleviate some of those concerns. So I understand, Councilman Schaefer, that the concern is it's a negotiated effort. PDDs have always been a negotiated effort, and we've done very well negotiating things with staff, so we're not concerned with that at all.
Yeah, and I would add that you negotiate with staff, and then staff is the one that has to either decide they're going to recommend it forward or not, and then it goes to planning and zoning, and they decide on their own evaluation, judgmental as it may be, whether those modifications are adequate to offset the, or those community benefits are adequate to offset. So I'm not too concerned that we've dropped the point system, as long as each of those bodies, planning and zoning, and this body, has an opportunity to think about what that negotiation really was and what the trade-offs were. So I'm okay with it. Any further comments or questions? Did you, Ms. McElhaney, did you, oh, wait a minute, the public hearing is still open. Seeing no one come forward that wishes to speak to the council on this item, I will close the public hearing, and my colleague on my left may have the floor to make whatever comments she wishes.
I just want to say this is how it's supposed to work. You kind of were put in an awkward position, Jeff, where you had council, pretty much kicking it back before you even got it out of your mouth good, because we want to make sure the development community was adequately consulted. As a matter of fact, I think Anthony pulled it off the agenda for approval even before we sat down. But I really like the way everyone came together. You negotiated it out. I think the benefits are very much applicable to these smaller tracts that are getting redeveloped. And I just thank you for going the extra mile and putting in the extra effort to get something that made it work for everyone. Not to mention the fact that we've got a brilliant staff, and being able to use that discretion, I think, is going to bring a much better end product to our citizens.
Any other comments, or someone wish to make a motion, Ms. McElhaney?
I would like to see this approved.
Second.
A motion made and seconded by, I think, by Mr. Yancey's voice. So we have a motion and a second on the floor, this item 9.5. Any further discussion? You've already spoken to the motion, and so I'm happy to proceed if there aren't any further comments. All those in favor of 9.5 as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously, and I declare a 5-minute recess. And we'll take 9.6 through 9.12 next, all in one discussion. Okay, we've returned to regular session. I will wait another minute for our last council member. While I'm waiting, Mr. Attorney, do I need to read all 6 of these? I do, because we got to vote on every one of them, don't we?
You don't have to read every single caption. You can just say, I'm opening items
6.1, 6.6, I mean.
9.
9.6 through 9.12.
And you can say that these are the abandonments for 725 University Drive as listed on the agenda.
Okay.
And then you will have to vote on each one separately, but
Right,
one
yeah,
public hearing.
But we'll have one presentation and one public hearing. It's all of these are public hearings. So let me just introduce this before staff member begins her presentation. We are considering items 9.6 through 9.12, and I will start with 9.6 over here. All of these, 9.6 through 9.12, relate to Culpeper property and they're all vacating particular kinds of easements. I'll read the first one, but there are 6 of them, and we'll have one presentation and one public hearing, and then we'll vote separately on each of the items. So the first one, 9.6, is a public hearing, presentation, discussion, possible action regarding an ordinance vacating and abandoning, in this case, 0.021 acre portion of public utility easement lying over and across and upon Block 1, Lot 1 of the Culpeper TAMU subdivision, generally located at 725 University Drive, according to the instruments recorded of the official public records of Brazos County. Each of the other 5 are all related to that same address. They're all ordinances vacating public utility easements. Ms. Pressler will make a presentation on all 6 of those, and we will move on then to a public hearing and vote separately. Welcome.
Hello. Good evening, Council. Lindsay Pressler, Review Engineer. Tonight's request is to abandon 7 easements, generally located at 725 University Drive. They are in Block 1, Lot 1 of the Culpeper at TAMU subdivision. Most of these easements did house utilities. We have received and approved plans to relocate all of the utilities. Most of them have been relocated at this time, and we have all of the easements needed for those relocations. I have received one general inquiry for this request. All utilities have approved the request, and staff is recommending approval. The developer is available if you have any additional questions for them.
Okay, and there's no impact on any of the other properties neighboring this property that would impact them at all?
No, all utilities most of them were upsized or kept the same size and created a lot of redundancies for our utility system in this area.
Well, I commend staff and the engineers and those people that surveyed this. It's quite a messy overlay of easements, but we'll work our way through them. So all item 9.6 through 9.12, 7 items are similar. Are there any questions from the dais to staff? Mr. Yancey.
Ms. Pressler, page 1008 of 1298, staff recommends item 9.8 for approval as well, right? The cover sheet's just got a
Did it say not approval?
It's silent on the matter on the recommendation.
Oh.
I'm sure
It was more than likely an oversight, but yes, all were recommended for approval by staff.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions, clarifications? Not, see none from up here, so let me open the public hearing, see if there's anyone that wishes to speak on these public utility easement, vacating these public utility easements. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing, and we'll turn to the staff, to the dais. Any further questions, comments? You want to make a motion?
Move to approve, Mayor.
Motion by Mr. Yancey, was that who moved? Okay.
All items under that heading.
Items, no, you can't do that.
Oh, we can't?
Can't do that.
Do one at a time.
You gotta do one at a time. Motion, entertain a motion, hearing no other discussion, a motion on 9.6.
Second.
Mr. Yancey, you moved on 9.6, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And a second by Mr. Schaefer?
Yes, sir.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. 9.7.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Yancey, is seconded by Ms. McElhaney. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's 9.7.
Move approval.
Okay.
Second.
I said 9.8, so you're talking about 9.8. And a motion by Mr. Yancey, seconded by Mr. Schaefer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. At 9.9, let's have somebody else make a motion.
Ooh, me.
Mr.
I'll move to approve 9.9.
9.9, Mr. Wright, seconded by Mr. Smith. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
9.10, motion to approve. Mr. Smith, second by Mr. White. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 9.11, similar item.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Yancey,
No, Mr. Wright, seconded
seconded by Mr. Wright. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And 9.12, is that where I'm at now? 9.12.
Somebody else has some fun.
9.12.
Move approval.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Did
Gotta
we
have a
get a
second.
second on that?
Yes.
Motion made by Yancey?
Yes, Councilman White seconded.
And White seconded. Okay, that was on 12. At 7, did we vote on that one? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We voted on that one now. Okay.
That was a land speed record right there, Mayor.
9.12 is approved, so Ms. Pressler, we've approved all of the,
Fantastic.
from 9.6 to 9.12, the cleanup, which is really an important part of the process.
The city manager.
I didn't mean to diminish
I'd just
it
like to
all.
congratulate Lindsay on being by far the most efficient presenter in the city staff, and welcome her to the budget presentation that she'll be involved in.
She got 7 items approved in 5 minutes. Very
doing
good.
great.
You deserve a pay raise. But talk to Anthony about that. Very good.
you.
Thank you. Okay, item 13 is another vacating of abandonment, but it's a different one. Public hearing, presentation, discussion, possible action regarding ordinance vacating and abandoning a 550 square foot portion of a generally 20-foot wide public utility easement, said easement lying over, across, and upon Lot 1, Block 18 of the Mission Ranch Subdivision, Phase 403, generally located at 3735 Hardin Hills, according to the plat recorded in volume 18227, page 77 of the official public records of the Brazos County, and Mr. Gableman will be here.
Howdy. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Cole Gableman, Planning and Development Services. The easement being requested for abandonment is a 10-foot portion of existing 20-foot wide public utility easement located at the rear of 3735 Hardin Hills Drive, which is part of the Mission Ranch Phase 403. The 20-foot wide public utility easement at the rear of the property abuts a Mission Ranch common area. The 20-foot wide public utility easement has never housed utilities. The request for the abandonment was initiated by the applicant due to the homeowner's desire to construct a swimming pool in the rear of their property. All utilities have approved this request, We did receive one general inquiry. Staff recommends approval. This concludes my presentation. I don't believe the applicant is here this evening, but I'm available for questions.
The applicant is in the back, but that's okay. Have you got a map? Can you show the same map that's in the, there you go. Now, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
None of this easement's been used, so the utilities have all said that's fine. We're really only vacating, I guess that's one lot, right?
Yes, sir.
But that easement continues across the back of all the rest of those lots.
It does.
But we're not hampering the rest of those lots in any way according to the staff in water, wastewater, whoever would use it, electric.
No, sir. Abandoning the 10 feet wouldn't affect neighboring property.
Well, because we're abandoning that part, which means we're really abandoning the bulk of that, the rest of it, because you can't access the rest of it if you're abandoning this one section. Is that correct?
Well, you're only abandoning the 10 feet on that property, but it could affect the other properties if they wanted to come into
So that
abandonment.
easement's wider than 10 feet?
It's 20 feet across the rear of the property, but only 10 feet of that is being abandoned for a swimming pool.
Okay, so in the future, if utilities did need, they still have 10 feet?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, I don't really want to question staff. If they've said they don't need it, then that's fine. Just abandoning one lot and not the rest is interesting, and I understand the applicant's interest in that. Any other questions for staff?
I have one.
Yes, Mr. Smith.
A question about, if we didn't need that easement, why do we have it?
It was a plating requirement originally. A 20-foot rear easement was required when the property was platted, but it does abut a common area, so there is also a 10-foot easement on that common area. That's just part of the requirement. And now they're coming in, obviously, for that 10-foot abandonment.
A lot of properties in the city would like to do that.
And they could apply for that application, the abandonment, and we could review it. Like I said, this easement specifically doesn't have any utilities back there, and that's why we're recommending approval.
Mr. Smith, are you satisfied?
I understand.
You understand? Any other questions from this end?
Mayor, I'd
Questions
just like
here?
to make a comment. Mr. Gableman was extremely
Well, it would.
knowledgeable.
Let's have the public hearing first, okay?
Okay.
All right. This is a question of staff?
Yeah, fullback or linebacker or both?
I was actually Aggie band.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Great deal.
Okay, I see what the question was. That's a good question. That's a great question. Okay, seeing no questions from up here, I will open the public hearing. Anyone wishes to come forward, I don't think anybody signed up. I think I understand what the applicants are looking for. They're in the back of the room. They don't need to speak if they don't wish to. So if I don't see anybody coming forward, then we'll close the public hearing and I'll turn to the will of the council.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Yancey to approve. Mr. Smith seconded. This is an abandonment of 550 square feet on Hardin Hills Drive. All of those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. It's approved, and you folks can go home.
Excellent. Thank y'all.
And the swimming pool builder as well, probably, has more interest in this, as much interest as the homeowner. Okay, that was 7.13, or 9.13, I'm sorry. 9.14 is another item relating to, this time, to our CDBG money and others. Ms. Rainey will come forward. Let me read it. This is not a public hearing, but nobody signed up to speak. Presentation, discussion, possible action regarding the adoption of a resolution regarding substantial amendment to the 2025-2029 Consolidated Plan and the 2025 Annual Action Plan to reprogram $485,680 of CDBG money funds to rental housing rehabilitation for the acquisition of housing units to be used as affordable rental housing. Funds will be moved as follows: $400,000 from public facilities to rental housing rehabilitation, $85,680 from housing services to rental housing rehabilitation, This is connected to a following one. In a way, I'll let Ms. Whitwell make her presentation and help us understand how you're moving money around here.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Rainey Whitwell, Planning and Development Services. As you said, this is the first substantial amendment to our 2025-2029 Consolidated Plan and 2025 Annual Action Plan. This amendment would allow us to move funds from public facilities and housing services to rental housing rehabilitation. This amendment is needed to help us meet our CDBG timeliness test. HUD evaluates us for timeliness 60 days before the end of the grantee's year, which will be September 30th. And a grantee is considered to be out of compliance if we exceed the ratio of 1.5% of the annual allocation. We do have two major public facility projects we are funding moving forward. They're moving a little bit slower than we anticipated, and that is the reason that we are needing to move money to spend so that we are timely.
What projects are those?
We will be using CDBG funds to replace the splash pad at Lincoln Center. We will also be using CDBG funds to replace and extend the sidewalk on Welsh Avenue in front of A&M Consolidated between 2818 and Holloman Road. So we are recommending that we move the funds as followed. We recommend moving $400,000 from public facilities and $85,000 from housing services, and moving that to rental housing rehab for a grand total of $485,000. Once we have those funds moved, we would release RFP and award that to a qualified nonprofit. This is a public hearing, and I am available for questions.
Okay, any questions for staff beyond the question or to the rest? Clarification, any kind? Yes, Ms. McElhaney.
Are these funds, could they be used for down payment assistance, or do they have to go to one of these three categories?
Technically, they could be used for down payment assistance. However, we have allocated enough funding to complete 10 down payment assistance this year, and we have not reached that number due to we are working through it, but we do not have enough to fill what we've already budgeted.
I have a real problem with us creating rental units. That's a whole nother conversation, though. Where would this rental unit be? I know you would put out an RFP, but would it be, I have a super big problem with us doing rental properties in new neighborhoods. Do we have any idea about the parameters we would put on that insofar as location?
We would encourage, as all RFPs are, they're based on points and evaluations. We would encourage them not to look in new neighborhoods, because the intent of our rental rehabilitation program is to find properties that are in declining status, use our funds to revamp that property, and then in essence revamp the neighborhood. So we would encourage them to find something that is not in a new neighborhood.
So I know the one that we did last was in a new neighborhood, or at least the last one that came before us. Can the criteria be tweaked to avoid that?
Yes, we can tweak the criteria.
Okay. I would appreciate that. I don't know how the rest of the council feels, but we should not be going into new neighborhoods to do rental rehabilitation and creating additional rental properties. So,
as I look forward to the next item, we are actually moving money from the housing rehabilitation to acquisition rehabilitation to deal with the existing home that we have on Wilderness. So it seems to me that helps my view of the direction we're moving in with that property. I understand the council members' concerns about new neighborhoods, but when they're a large percentage of that neighborhood is already rental, I'm not sure that one additional one, which I believe is the one you're interested in.
keep pushing it to critical mass, Mayor. Said each one pushes it closer to
I
critical mass.
understand that, but let me just say, the reason I'm not as concerned as you are about that one house, so. But as we can see, they are moving in the other direction with the other house. So, any other comments, questions? This is not a public hearing, so. and then
It
nobody
is a
signed up?
public hearing.
Oh, this is a public?
Yes, sir.
Whoa, wait a minute. Didn't say that on mine, it said presentation. You need a public hearing?
Yes, we need a public hearing for both, please.
We're talking about 9.14, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, so it is a public hearing. I'll add that here. So this is a public hearing. Is that, even though it was not advertised, Mr. City Attorney, can I add a public hearing just to make note of it?
I mean, we didn't post it on the agenda caption, but you can still do the public hearing.
I can add that to it.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm adding a public hearing to this. I assume that 9.15 is also?
Yes, sir. And, sir, just to follow up on that, we were required to release these two amendments for a 30-day public comment period. So they've been out in the public for 30 days for comment.
So they've been out there?
Yes.
But you want a public hearing tonight as well?
It is required.
It is required. Okay, I'm adding a public hearing. So I'll open the public hearing on 9.14, which is the movement of the funding as described. Anyone wish to speak to this item? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and we'll move to the will of the council on 9.14 regarding the reallocation of some of these funds into the rental housing rehab to the rental housing rehab fund, the acquisition of housing units to be used for affordable rental housing.
Move approval.
Motion made by Mr. Schaefer. Second? Second by Mr. White. Okay, comments, question, Mr. Schaefer, you wish to speak to your motion?
No, I don't necessarily. I did have a question, though. You know, you mentioned, Randy, that this had been open to the public for 30 days, and I assume that the answer to this is no, but was there any comment? Did anybody participate in that period?
No, sir. We advertised it in the paper. We also advertised it on our website.
I guess the only other thing I would say is that, and I appreciate what Melissa's saying about rentals and maybe some of the difficulties that rentals can create, but I also think when we've talked about trying to make housing more accessible, that sometimes rental properties are helpful in that regard, and I assume that's why this project or this program exists. So, because some people can't afford to buy. And so if you are starting out and you need to afford to rent for a while, I rented for a long time when I was growing up. And so then I finally was able to buy. So I see that as a positive in many cases.
I think Elder Aid is a good example of the nonprofit Chodo that applies for these kinds of funds, and they have a very specific business model that they use, which to me is laudable along the lines of what you're describing, people who are not able to afford or don't need to own a home later on in their lives. Okay, I know there was a couple of comments. Who seconded that? Did you have any comments? Okay. Ms. McElhaney, you want to speak again on this item? Yes, you answer, you raised your finger.
I think I understand my colleague's concerns. I was going to ask her to clarify them further, but I think Scott did kind of for me.
Okay. Well, in that case, if there's no further comments, the chair will entertain a motion to approve 9.14 because I opened and closed the public hearing, and we've got...
You've got a motion and a second, Mayor.
Excuse me?
There's already a motion and a second.
Is there already? Oh, I'm sorry, I must have... Who made the motion?
Scott made the motion.
Scott, okay, you're right, and David made the second, you're right. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion on that one carries 7-0.
Thank you.
All right. 9.15 is a public hearing, as I understand it. Presentation, discussion, possible action regarding the adoption of a resolution regarding a substantial amendment to the 2025-2029 Consolidated Plan and 2025 Annual Action Plan. The amendment proposes adding a new project, home buyer acquisition rehabilitation, and reallocating $339,505.34 in CDB funds from rental housing rehabilitation to this new activity. Ms. Whitwell.
Thank you, Mayor. As mentioned before, this substantial amendment is to the 2025-2029 Consolidated Plan, the 2025 Annual Action Plan. It was advertised in the newspaper and on our website and has been available to the public for the past 30 days. This substantial amendment is a procedural amendment that would allow us to change the use for the home located at 3700 Wilderness. It would add home buyer acquisition rehabilitation as a project, and it moves the money that we've already spent on the project, which was $339,000 from rental housing rehab to acquisition rehabilitation. The home will be sold to an income-eligible household using a structure similar to the down payment assistance program. And with that, I am available for questions.
And as I read that, you have a formula ratio depending on how much the down payment you provided as opposed to how much they did, that would recapture some of the equity, a percentage of the equity that the homeowner might gain from reselling the home, correct?
If you would allow me to call David Brower up here, this is the item that was on the consent agenda, and he could speak to that.
No, maybe, okay, maybe I'm confusing two items, but the point is, the thing I don't like about these programs is that if the person turns around and flips the house in a year and gains $10,000 or $100,000, whatever, we don't have anything to say about it, or do we?
That's correct. It is a shared equity program, however. So the percentage the down payment assistance is to the sales price is the same percentage of the net proceeds of the sale that they'll return when the home is sold. So if the house, if we provide, if the house sells for $250,000 and then they sell it a couple years later for $300,000 and realized a $50,000 increase, if the down payment assistance was 30% of that net increase would also come back along with what they borrowed. So the city receives back the money that was put out along with that shared equity.
But there's no requirement that they sell it to anybody that's qualified for any kind of a homeowner assistance. They can turn it into rental property themselves if they want to. Whatever they own it outright, correct?
That's right. It'll be a repayment and they default.
Yeah, exactly.
And we've looked into that. So it's one of the goals of the Housing Action Plan to create a shared equity housing program that's deed restricted and has affordability in perpetuity.
Well,
we just haven't gotten there yet. So
yeah, I'm going to say this does not get us there either.
It doesn't get us there, and some of that's the administration of a program like that. So
I understand
having
that's not an easy program to administer.
And so creating or looking to create revenue or looking to create streams through density bonus or through to get a critical mass to where then the administration would be more feasible is kind of where we're going. But with this, we would look to sell this home with just our traditional down payment assistance model.
Okay, thank you very much.
And just so council is clear, when we took this endeavor on as a test case, the difference with this is in previous projects and other ones that I'm sure we'll do, the money leaves and it goes to this organization and it stays there. When we sell this, whatever we sell it for, the money comes back into to us to be able to use on similar
that's correct
programs. So that's the difference here is that you know, I mean, if we put 300,000 into it, and let's say it's sold for 200, or we send it to some in another one of our partners in the past, that 300,000 was gone. In this case, 200,000 comes back that then can go into another property.
I don't have a problem with that aspect of it. It's just I'm still waiting to figure out, and I don't fault the staff for not having figured out because I can't figure it out how we get to the point where if we're really trying to create an affordable house, that affordability idea is passed along.
I think something we could track, and then they can dispute this if they've got better information. But if you look at, you're taking an income qualified buyer to purchase the home, and they do that, and their incentive to flip it when there's a shared equity, and then they'd have to go into some other home. It doesn't really lend itself because of the controls on the purchaser to do it, because then, I mean, even if they could make some marginal profit, they're going to have to go buy another piece of property. And I guess in some way what I would say is if that happens, then that's probably a good result of the program.
If they grow their way out of being income qualified, more power to them, because that means they've improved their lives and their finances and can move on. Anyway, I'm not going to be opposed to this. I'm just using it as an opportunity to think through what we're really accomplishing with these. Any other questions?
Yes. Is this the program, like 2.5 years ago under the prior council? Y'all brought this to us.
Yep.
I remember Councilman Maloney and I were all in. Have we done any of these since?
No, I mean, this is it. And basically, obviously, through a change of, I mean, this was the first one to figure out how the processes and stuff.
I thought there wasn't a subject property back then that we approved, that the very first one?
This is
Yeah, this is it.
Oh, this is it,
Yeah,
still.
This is it.
It's in
Yeah,
retro.
and what really happened, I won't go into all of it, but it went through having to figure out how we would do this, because this is something we essentially, I would say, pioneered all within the system. And then you get to figure out how you're going to do it and how you're going to rehab it. And then when we saw Debbie really leave and kind of went about this one way, we had options on how to put it back out there, but didn't feel like it met the intent, so we went back around. So this is the trial one. And I guess the hope, and I think David mentioned kind of scaling it if it's what council wants to do, if we get this to work, then now we kind of have the blueprint for it.
So the chronology fuse will be shortened on the next one if this works.
Yeah, I would hope. Yeah, I would hope.
Well, and your point that all the cash comes back to the program, which means they can turn right around. They got another home that can be rehabilitated and a ready income qualified family, and they can do it a lot faster than what we have messed around doing now. And when we decided we're going to do this as an owner occupied rather than rental, that kind of clears up one of our.
No, I like this program. It's kind of a closed system, and
I do too.
it feeds itself and helps stabilize families and communities. I like this. It's the rentals I have a problem with, or concern with, maybe the better word.
Okay, did I open a public hearing? I don't think I did. If not, I'll open a public hearing on this one. There's been so many tonight, I've forgotten. Anyone wish to speak on this item, which is, man, I gotta turn over the page here, 9.15 on our regular agenda. I don't see anybody, so I'll close the public hearing and turn to the will of the council, if I assume we don't have a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Mr. White moves to approve. Do I have a second? Seconded by Mr. Wright to approve this item 9.15. Was that what I'm saying? Yeah, 15. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Whitwell. You and the staff have done a great job of working us through some complex financial and federal government regulatory standards that you have to meet, so we
She's still
appreciate that very
smiling.
much. Okay, well, let's see if we can wrap this up. We're at item 10 on the regular agenda, items of community interest. I want to just take a moment to just recognize the contributions of Brandy Norris, who was our assistant police chief for many years, officer on the beat, and worked her way up through the chain of command to become assistant police chief, retired and moved into some other statewide security opportunities, passed away suddenly a couple of weeks ago. Many of us attended her funeral, but just take a moment to reflect on Brandy and what she's meant to the city. So let's take a 10-second moment of silence. Okay, other items of community interest? Yeah, Mr. Wright?
Just two quick ones here. One, I had the opportunity to fill in for you earlier this week at the Sister Cities. Mark Smith was there as well. We had welcomed 15 visiting exchange students from Poland. I think they stayed in the city of College Station for 10 days and got to experience life in Texas, and we were there for their send-off party. So I just wanted to mention that we did that. And also, this past Friday, Texas A&M University hosted their very first Howdywood Festival, which is a film festival. And the feature film first place award went to our very own Mark Beal for his film Marginalia. So I wanted to give a shout out to him. That's quite the accomplishment. And yeah, bringing some Hollywood flair to College Station. So happy for that festival and happy for Mark.
That's great news. That's great news. I would also note that today was Chamber Day, so I spent the morning with the leadership of the Chamber, plus Chief of Police of Bryan, Chief of Fire Department of Bryan, Chief of Police College Station, Chief Couch, and several others visiting 4 or 5 businesses in town. Of course, the Chamber's having a party. They had a party this evening that we all missed as their closing event for that day. But Chamber Day is always an interesting opportunity we visited 4 different businesses, 2 in Bryan, 2 in College Station. Really kind of fascinating to spend a few minutes talking to some of these folks about what their interests and concerns are. They plan to visit over 1,000 businesses, and then they consolidate the feedback they get from those 1,000 into some general statement that we'll see later on this year. 4 of us are on the schedule, at least, planning to be in D.C. with the Chamber later on this spring. I look forward to that trip, as always. Other items of community interest, Mr. Schaefer?
So, yeah, there's one that's not on the list here that I think we're doing for the first time. It's with Jason and his folks who work in active transportation. We've got another bicycle ride coming up on Saturday morning, 8 o'clock. It's going to be at Wayne Smith over there. It's going to start. It's going to be a short ride, about 3.5 miles, very family friendly. So anybody who's interested in getting up on Saturday morning and riding a bike, come on over.
This coming Saturday morning?
This coming Saturday,
Okay.
8 o'clock.
All right, be there with your bicycle. Council reports, committees, boards, and commissions. Any reports on your committee assignment, Mr. White?
Yeah, just want a quick update. Legislative Engagement Committee met with Representative Trey Wharton and Paul Dyson this week. Had a good interaction with them. We're still on the schedule to bring back a preliminary report back to y'all. We will be getting input from the citizens with the survey that we're going to be sending out. So we want your input too. So things are moving on the legislative front.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, you want to comment on transportation?
Sure. We had our Transportation Committee meeting this week, and then also the COG Transportation Committee basically had the same presentation at both meetings. Well, it was a good one. It was worth seeing twice. The university talked about the micromobility and how it impacts the university, and gives us a lot to think about how we're going to work on that. And I know our Bicycle Pedestrian Committee is working with the staff on some ideas about how to incorporate that into our plan.
Yeah, I heard the presentation. It's quite interesting. A lot of facts.
Yes.
Not a lot of solutions yet, because they're still struggling with how to manage the issue on campus, and I think that means a lot to the city as well. Other committees? Yes, Mr. Yancey?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Briefly, the Board of Health met, largely a ministerial meeting. The board did approve unanimously a budgetary request for this upcoming budget that for the first time, and I guess this will be the 6th year, does request an increase, $100,000, notably perhaps the amount that this council approved last year that the other funding partners did not reciprocate on. And the Brazos Valley Council of Governments Intergovernmental Committee met, and our very own Councilman Schaefer made a presentation regarding Texas A&M's 150th or sesquicentennial birthday. Got some good coverage in the Eagle, but you want to tell the mayor briefly what's about to happen in the community?
So, yeah, well, briefly. So I think many of you all have heard that Texas A&M is going to celebrate 150 years this coming year. That'll start the weekend of October 2nd. There'll be a number of things happening that week. That's the weekend that the University of Arkansas will play football here. The celebration will continue in different ways throughout the month of April in 2027. So just keep your eyes open. There's lots of good stuff that's going to happen in the community and on campus.
And you and the city secretary's office are talking about a proclamation that might be needed for that. So much time to think about it. That's a lot of time for us to plan that proclamation. So I hope you got your writing pencil ready. Any other boards or commissions, council meetings to report on? Okay. Item future agenda. Any future agenda items? We've got a list that's on the back of the
I do, Mayor.
handout. Hang on just a second here. Oh, actually, the council calendar, I didn't mention that, but that, did you put that up already?
Yeah.
There it was, okay. Yeah, it's been up there. And a few of those things we talked about, but the April 9th, no workshop items currently scheduled because we're going to have a fairly lengthy regular meeting. Is that the idea? Or you just haven't decided yet?
We don't presume anything. Well, we slot the workshop items in based on when we think we can get them.
And then April 23rd, one of our discuss state of the city event, yeah, okay. Street maintenance update, power supply, and May 14th. Not a, most of these are update reports. Great, okay. Did I hear there was a future agenda item down here?
Yes, sir. Shall I proceed?
Please.
Mr. Steve Beachy, and from the Mays School of Business, fairly highly placed up in that school, I believe, Mr. Manjit Yadav, approached me about a Big Six signage project for community branding.
What?
Community branding. You've arrived. Welcome to Aggie Land, home of the 12th man. They've got some predicate communities that they hold up as shining examples. I've touched base with TxDOT. There is provision in law, and I was wondering if we could put a workshop item. No rush. The Big Six project will be with us for a while. So just put it on staff's radar screen is all I'm asking for, a Big Six signage project in cooperation with the county and the city of Bryan.
This would be, I'm only asking for clarification, this would be separate from what I noticed today. Our City of College Station sign by University Drive is now gone, obliterated. Presumably parts of it maybe were saved, hopefully, that they could use again. This is separate from
No,
that.
there is nothing they're going to use again.
There's nothing they could use again. It all came
Gravel
apart.
somewhere.
All came apart. Well, it's gone. So are you talking about something separate from that since you're talking about
I've
county?
talked, Mr. Beachy, I've talked to him at church, and I know generally what he's talking about. So, I mean, if it's just something you guys want at some point to come back and hear about, then I understand what the assignment is. This would be signage or statues or different landmark type things throughout the community in a linear way that would all be tied together.
So it's
is the
not just
concept.
one sign.
Yeah, it's not wayfinding. It's more of like branding, visual, tied together, theme type stuff. Is what how I understand it.
Community pride type stuff. Promotional.
So Mr. Beachy believes he's not needing any more money for the Veterans Memorial, so now he wants another sequence of funding
I don't
for.
think he said that. But
Well.
so
but
it just if
it's
council wants to
several different-
hear it in the future,
It's
we-
several different items that's scattered along the highway, then I guess it would be several different concepts, and somebody would need to come up with a plan to integrate all that.
They have some great ideas and they want the opportunity. They were going to come and present tonight during Hear Visitors, and then that was the plan. I was going to make this motion, but they didn't show. But I know, I got an email from them. I know them to be very passionate, and they make a really good case. I think it'd be pretty neat for us to look at.
Do I have a consensus or not?
I like it. I'm on board.
1, 2,
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay, you got a consensus to follow up on that idea and see how it could be packaged into but I am also, maybe it doesn't relate to that at all, but I am curious about, are we going to replace the sign? But we can't do that for 5 years, and we don't even know where it would go at this point, but that's another question that the city.
And the other one,
Like the
Mayor,
planning timeline we like, about 5 years, we'll get something done.
Well, that's right, yeah.
and the other one, Mayor, if you're ready.
Please proceed, Mr. Yancey.
Was hoping we could have a strategic water utility discussion about the duplicative efforts happening among all the water utilities in Brazos County and whether or not there's opportunity for us to collaborate, as discussed earlier tonight, and was hoping we could talk about it sooner rather than later for reasons
You'd
you and
like
I
that
discussed.
as a workshop item?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Looks like you got a consensus. I think city manager has access to a lot of data and information on that already.
And the last one, sir?
I would hope that we could.
And the last one, I understand.
We're up to 3 now. Mr. Crompton, I'm sorry, Mr. Yancey.
I beg your pardon. Wolfpen Creek RFP results are back, so it might not need a item. I presume that staff's going to bring those, and I would encourage staff, if I can, to please look at an amphitheater developer out there going on in 5 communities, including Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, where I have family, called Sunset Amphitheaters. And what they are doing with amphitheaters will blow your mind. They have a funding mechanism where it's fan-owned, where you can buy booths, seating booths with, I mean, it's really, really nice. If we could look at that, it'd be great. Thank you, Mayor.
So I don't think you need an item unless it was just to kind of be, I mean, this will come back, but unless, obviously, there's some other aspect to it, but we can certainly look at that.
With that guidance, I assume it's already planned to come to us anyway.
I think we're good on that.
Good.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Ms. McElhaney, sure.
Yeah, 2 points of clarification. Number one, the consider a supermajority of council to overturn P and Z recommendations. I believe that should say unanimous P and Z recommendations.
Yeah, so actually it's going to come off anyways because legislation is pretty much done away with that, but we'll send you
Okay.
my
I just,
buddy to the left will send you a note on that.
and then I don't see the incentives for developments or projects that are increasing the affordable housing or densification.
Yeah, they'll come back. We just don't have it. We just didn't have it on there.
I assume that goes through the.
Can we at least get it on the pending agenda? Because
Well, I
I feel
know,
like we've
it
been
was just
chasing this one for a while.
It's just I mean, we've only had it for, I think when it came on, it just is not printed on there. It is pending, and I think we are bringing it back when we bring back the housing action plan. It is, I think, what we talked about.
That committee, it has to go through that committee, I would assume.
No, that doesn't have to go through that committee.
No, it doesn't.
I think it's a separate discussion based on the direction I got from council last meeting, but makes sense in conjunction with that discussion, given the direction.
And when's that coming back?
So right now, that is end of summer because of the work that's being done. So if you want it sooner, then you can have it sooner, but.
I would like to have it sooner. We've chased this topic around since I've been elected. We've been talking about the housing action plan. We were waiting for that to come out, and then we have the suggestions, but we have not had that conversation. I would like to see it before the end of summer.
That's really up to council. I don't think there's a holdup on our side of it. It's just based
How do
on,
the council members feel? Indifferent? Indifferent?
I would support the request.
Well, if it's got to be coordinated with something else the staff is doing, then I understand that.
I don't think it has to be coordinated. I think it was, again, feedback I got from council about what that would look like and how it relates, but that's up to you guys if you want to consider it separately. Doesn't impact us. We don't have to wait for the Housing Action Committee.
I don't see a lot of support for hurrying it up.
You're the deciding vote.
You're the
Mayor.
deciding vote, Mayor, and I
I was
was.
gonna say, I think
y'all
it's about
had- just-
50-50.
I see two people saying bring it up now.
There were
I don't
three
see
of us.
five.
Yeah, we support it. I mean, it's.
Okay, three?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we're good.
Okay, sounds like, hey, everybody wants it. Let's do it.
Thank you for
I
supporting
I
our
only
request.
counted the two of you because I didn't hear anybody else speaking on behalf, and I could not hear Schaefer from down the other end. All right, sounds like you got your work cut out for you. All right, very good. Anything else from this end of the, I mean, haven't heard a word from the three of you.
No, we're good.
You're all good?
We're all good on this one.
Okay. All right, so that is the end of that agenda item. Number 12, which brings us before 10 p.m. We are therefore adjourned.